Hello, hello, hello! What's up this morning, everyone? Welcome. Fine Tuesday to ya all. Good to see ya. What is up, Lord Boyce, Mother Frogger, Winston Churchill OG, Stu Matt Greasy, the Great Destroyer. Welcome to the Fishbowl. Thank you so much for your subscription. Big super cheer for you. Thank you. Hopefully, everyone having a great week, had a great weekend. Today, we're janking around in New Standard. I really want to try Insidious Roots. Insidious Roots got some really big upgrades from the new set, with one being Ketramose, which we got a Ketramose video coming on the YouTube on Friday. Oh my god, do I love Ketramose. This card is insane, but also Moltender is sneaky good, and honestly, I gotta make a change to this deck real quick, because sneakily, I think that Dredger's Insight is one of the best cards from the entire set. When I first saw Dredger's Insight, I was like, oh, it's kind of like a cash grab, right? Maybe a worse cash grab because it's sorcery speed. But what this card actually is, it's Meat Hook Massacre. It's cash grab mixed with Meat Hook Massacre. You just play this card and it does the cash grab thing, and then the next thing you know, you have like 35 life or something just by playing your deck. It's like an insane card. It's really, really good. So is this Caleb's list? That is a good question. Let me see. It was from someone on Magic Online. The name of the person was DBXJ Cloud. So whoever that is, played it on Moto. The big one. Welcome to the Fishbowl. Thank you so much for your subscription. Big thank you. That is the other upside of early stream times, is you actually might get to see Bear, because Bear goes in, hangs out with his friend in the afternoon, but he's around now. He's sleeping right down here at the moment, but I'm sure Bear will make an appearance at some point once he wakes up. So we'll probably get to see some Bear action. Oh, that dog. So anyway, before we jump into this, we also got big news yesterday, and I'm curious what you all think of these cards, because we got a first look at Final Fantasy Commander in specific, and you know me. There are a lot of things I don't know much about, and one of those things is Final Fantasy. I've never played Final Fantasy, so the thing with Final Fantasy, I had friends that were so into Final Fantasy. It always seemed like it'd take a really, really long time to play Final Fantasy, so I just never got into it. I never really got into RPGs, but I'm curious, because a lot of people really like Final Fantasy. What do you think of the first Final Fantasy cards? I would say, if you're going to rank them by power, Y'shtola, I think, is the strongest. I actually think, if you listen to the podcast yesterday, Richard and Krim were pretty down on Cloud. Isn't Cloud actually kind of good? Like, I don't know. I guess Cloud is like an iconic character or whatever, so maybe that's why people wanted it more pushed. But I feel like this card's actually, like, it's not bad, right? So 5 mana, hasty 4/4. When it enters, you put an equipment on it. When it attacks, you draw a card for each equipped creature. So by itself, no other equipment. You're going to play this with haste, free equip, attack, draw a card, and then if its power is ever greater, which it should be if you put an equipment on it, make 2 treasures. But if you have more equipment creatures, it gets even better and you draw more cards. Like, I'm not saying it's super pushed or anything, but I don't think Cloud is, like, bad. It's weird for me that people consider it to be, like, straight up bad. I think Lishota is the most push. Titus seems fun, like moving counter-arrows around. It's fun. Does anyone know the ruling on this? So we were trying to figure this out yesterday. So this ability on Titus, the second ability, the cheer ability, whenever one or more creatures you control with counters on them deal combat damage to a player, you may draw a card and proliferate. Do this only once each turn. So my question, judges in the chat, if I'm playing this in Commander, and I have 3 creatures with counters on them, and I swing one of those creatures at each opponent, and I hit each opponent, how many cards do I draw? Like, does this clause at the end prevent me from drawing for each opponent? Is that what that's trying to do? I don't know why that clause is doing otherwise. I guess preventing extra combats, which is kind of weird in ban anyway. So I'm assuming that's what it means. If you get to triple proliferate off this, the card is absolutely busted. I assume you only get to do it once, though, right? Yeah. I wonder, though, couldn't you just word this differently and be like, whenever one or more creatures you control deal with counters on them deal combat damage to one or more players, draw a card and proliferate, and you wouldn't need the once per turn. But hey, what's up, dog? How are you? The other one, people also like Terra, and I think Terra is a cool commander. 3 mana Mardu 3/3. Being in combat in your turn, mill 2 cards, it gets flying, and then when it deals combat damage to a player, you can pay 2. When you do, return a creature card with power 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Reminds me a little bit of like Alicia, the original Alicia, except I think this might be even better than original Alicia. It is awkward that you get the creature post-combat. The upside of Alicia is you reanimate and smash your opponent with that creature right away. This, you get it after you've dealt combat damage. You're not going to get damage the first turn, but the fact that it refers to power means, yeah, you can get some really expensive, like Trostani's, well, I guess it's on the right colors. Oh no, how do you spell this? Trostani Summoner. I'm thinking stuff like this, like really expensive creatures that happen to have really low power, like Trostani Summoner that makes a huge amount of tokens. There's probably some really cool shenanigans with Terra, but I'm curious. Hey, what's up, Snow? How are you? I'm curious. Hype level up or down compared to before? Like, how are we feeling about Final Fantasy? I'm excited about it mostly for Richard's sake. Richard is so excited for this set. And that makes it, having other people be excited makes me excited. Personally, Final Fantasy and whatever, I feel like it'll fit in Magic relatively well, so I think it'll be fine. I never really played Final Fantasy, so where's my Civilization crossover, Wizards? I want my Civilization universes beyond. Reminders! Replay YouTube. That's where you can find all the old streams, including this one in the future. Normal YouTube. Tomorrow, we have a super sweet Against the Odds deck. We might be perhaps teaching some Arena Zoomers some lessons about a card that just came to Arena. Oh man, it's a good one. It is a really good one. How do you like the new Civ? Or are you playing an old one? I was gonna get Civ 7 this past weekend, but then everyone was like, not really worth it yet. Give it some more time. So I haven't bought it yet. Usually what I do with Civ is I wait like a year and then buy it on sale once all the DLC's out. And then it's really good. What's your opinion of Thundering Velocipede? I feel like my experience with Civ is that Civ games are always bad when they launch. Maybe I haven't played this one yet, so maybe this is even worse than usual. But traditionally, Civ 5, Civ 6, like, you buy them, and when they first come out, they're like kind of clunky and not finished, but then after a year of updates or so, they become really, really good. So I imagine that's what happens with this one, is like a year from now, it's going to be really good, but right now they rush it out and want to get to market or whatever. I imagine that's what's going on. Opinion on Thundering Velocipede. It's a weird one. Thundering Velocipede. Wait, no. Do I not? Hey, there we go. Thunderous Velocipede. Thunderous Velocipede. I feel like this is a card that looks good, but then every time I've had someone play it against me, I beat them. It's a card that reads pretty powerful, but I just haven't really seen it pop off in practice. But we do have Llanowar in Standard. I imagine getting this down on turn 2 and then just playing your game, probably pretty powerful. So I think it might be a sleeper, but I haven't actually seen it pop off yet. Like, every time my opponent plays it, it just like looks kind of slow, and then they end up dying. Civ 6 got worse with Loyalty and Governors. Governors I didn't care about. Like, whatever. Like, I didn't mind Governors. Loyalty I don't mind in general, but then when loyalty matters, it can be very annoying. Like, there's certainly times when you're doing well and you like times when you're like doing well. Helichrome, welcome to the Fish Bowls. Thank you so much for your subscription. Thank you. You're like doing well, but then you like fight a war and win a city or two, and then you go into a dark age, and you just can't keep those cities, like almost no matter what. So there are times when loyalty gets annoying. But anyway, what are we playing today? So we're starting off with some Ketramose Roots, some new Insidious Roots. So if you don't know Insidious Roots, it's a deck that's been floating under the surface for a while, where you want to fill your graveyard. Insidious Roots, 2-mana enchantment, make sure tokens make a mana. More importantly, when a creature leaves your graveyard, you make a plant, and then you put a counter on it for each plant you control. So essentially, we want to get stuff in our graveyard, and then we want to exile it from our graveyard with Scavenging Ooze, with Agatha's Soul Cauldron, with Molt Tender, one of the new big additions to the deck. So we're hoping to make a bunch of plants. Ketramose insane in the shell, because as we're exiling stuff from the graveyard to trigger our Insidious Roots or to activate our Egg of the Soul Cauldron, now we're also drawing cards with Ketramose, and then the way we win the game is we either make just a massive board and eventually just run our opponent over, or we have one Voldaren Thrillseeker, which we can exile the Soul Cauldron and then throw all the plants at our opponent's face. And the other big deal, I mentioned this card before, but Dredger's Insight. Hopefully we see the power of this card. I feel like Dredger's Insight is actually kind of the truth. Megatire, welcome to the fishbowl. So that's what we're going to start with today. Got a couple backup decks too. I also kind of want to try, I don't know, how do y'all feel about control? How do you feel about control decks? I saw this Jeskai Monument deck, and it's definitely a control deck, but it also kind of appeals to me because it's like a Monument deck, and Monument's super cool. I feel like, I don't know, is it too crimmy? That's the question, is it too crimmy of a deck? But I kind of want to try this control deck at some point too, because all you do is like play the Monument and then Collector's Vault loots, Jace loots. We have Stern Lesson to draw and discard. Our removal draws and discards. 3 steps that draws and discards. So you play Monument and then just like play your game, and eventually your opponent just like gets burnt out because of Monument. So maybe we try that in the future, perhaps. But we're gonna start with the Roots deck and give it a go. Monument's such a cool card. I was listening to the podcast. I think the best path for a Magic movie is Chandra's beginning arc. Ooh. See, I could get behind that. I'm curious. What do you want to see in the Magic movie? I still want the Loot horror movie. I want Loot to be the evil Loot. I think that would be so, or maybe, what if the movie is this? What if it's like just like a rom-com, or like an Odd Couple? It's like just Jason Vraska living in a a 1-bedroom apartment. Jace is, I don't know, a barista or something. Vraska's finishing school and they have baby Loot, and then just the trials of an average planeswalker couple trying to make it in the real world. that would be interesting. Or I think Richard's pitch of like, what if it's actually like Minions, but with Flibbleflips and Homunculus instead of Minions? Something far out like that. I don't know if we ever get that far into the cinematic universe, but I would watch Minions with Flibbleflips. Where's Waldo? Flibbleflip edition. I have a feeling they're going to try to copy MCU and try to set it up for the Gatewatch. That would be what I would have thought like 3 years ago, but the Gatewatch is on the out now. It's either, okay, there's 2 possibilities. One is this storyline wraps up next year and we go back to Super Friends storyline. I could see that happening. I would die for MTG Romcom. Who would you put in the MTG Romcom? Kellen, yeah, I know. That's the movie I don't want. I do not want to see Kellen backpacking around Europe. That just does not appeal to me. That is the one movie I would rather not watch. All right, Rubber Belt Maverick. Surveil us into something good. Okay, those are 2 something goods. Well, we'll draw Ketramose. We want both of those. We'll draw Ketramose next, then our Taiva. Oh, a political drama show. See, maybe they actually, the more we talk about this, the more I think maybe they could actually do it. Maybe we could actually have a Magic cinematic universe. It sounds silly on its face, but then when you think through all the things you could do, I'm like, oh, that would actually, I would watch that. I would do that. Wes Anderson. What are you doing, Baby? Come say hi to everyone. People want to see you. Hey, Bubby. Can people see you? Let's see. Were you outside in the snow? Where are you? Hey, come here, bub. Let's see. Here, sit. Can you sit? There you go, Bubby. There you are, big boy. How are you? How are you, Baby? How are you? You go, puppy. Yeah, you good boy. There's the mythical bear. Yeah, you go, boy. All right, our opponent's probably getting upset that I'm not blocking their Novice Inspector. The bear, Phyrexia in the office. They could do like a House of Dragons thing with Tarkir. Actually, wait, have we just been ripping off other IPs forever? We might have just been ripping off other IPs forever, now that I think about it. Maybe. Do we Ketramose? Ketramose doesn't, yeah. Tyvar. Yeah, let's Tyvar. Play a little Tyvar. About it. Resolute Reinforcements. Well, hopefully we hit something good here and make a plant. Mill. Oh boy. Oh, that is very bad news. Very bad news. Hey Seth, I figured you'd get a kick out of this. Ranked up from the bottom of Platinum to Diamond last week, playing solely Turbo fucking Standard Best of 3. I know it was 70% win rate over 20 games. Do you have a list? I love Turbo Fog. Oh my god. Oh no. Oh, that Tyvar whiffing might just be the death of us. Oh, and our oh no. Oh boy. Oh. Well, Ketramose, it doesn't. Okay, we're actually just dead here. Betrayed, but yeah, you know what? Actually, there's we're literally just dead. Yeah, we really needed that Tyvar not to whiff. Do you think the movie would be better if you take it seriously or if it's funny? The thing is, I don't know if I trust Wizards. Well, I guess it won't be Wizards Friday. I was gonna say I don't know if I trust Wizards to actually be funny. I'm not sure Wizards' sense of humor is the same as mine. I think their sense of humor is like, put a hat on it. Silverfucks, welcome to the fishbowl. Thank you so much for your subscription. Big subscription for you. Thank you. Nahiri's Blink, eh? Ooh. Nahiri's Resolve is cool. I remember, this reminds me. Helpful Hunter seems like a nice addition. We played something kind of similar to this with the Firmirian stuff. Chainsaw seems like a cool addition. Yeah, I might have to try this deck again. Nahiri's Resolve blinking the Firmirian equipment was really good. And then Turbo, let's see this Turbo Fog deck. Turbo Fog A. It's a fog bank. It's a fog bank. Oh, I love it. Oh my god, it's fog bank. Oh, it's in standard still somehow. Oh, that looks. Wait, what's? Oh, Etherize. Oh man, I might have to play just to Etherize people in standard. That actually looks hilarious. I'm gonna have to remember this one because I might actually have to do a video. I might have to do a video on that one because fog bank. It's got fog bank. Krim was pitching doing the Outlaw story just without the hats. Yeah, all right. I could see that, I guess. What are we cutting? We're gonna one of these. Go down one of these. Maybe go down an ooze and go down. Is Ketramose too? Ketramose is. Yeah, we'll go down one Ketramose. Ketramose might be slow against this deck. Movie's gonna be Kellen and Loot buddy movie across the open paths, drawing on hats. That's my nightmare. You have literally described my nightmare. The worst day ever. Does anyone have a better hat than Rebel Bob? No, Rebel Maverick wears it right. Also, why does that tiger have so many eyes? I'm so confused. And why is it not eating? I don't even know what's going on in that card. It's a lot of eyes. Hey, Doug, how are you? Good to see you. How are things, Doug? What do you think of the new Final Fantasy commanders, Doug? Have you already brewed some sweet decks around them? I know you're on top of those new commanders, impressively on top of those new commanders. Nesting bot for our opponent. Well, this game is going to be a little bit better for us because we have an Insidious Roots, and we can actually fill our graveyard this time. Hopefully our opponent's not off to too fast of a start. Yeah, what's up with those gloves? Wait, is that another... Is that a magical cowboy hat coming out of his glove? I never noticed that before. That kind of looks like another cowboy hat. Boy, that plane really loved the cowboy hats, didn't it? Arabella, eh? Do we need to kill Arabella? Probably. Let's play a Gorehound. And we're going to wait until next turn for our Dredger's Insight. We're just going to get rid of... Actually, do we? You know what? Maybe we can take... Let's take our beats for now. Let's get the plans going. Let's Dredger's Insight. Oh, boy. Ooh, Soul Cauldron's so good. But Overlord is also... Man, that was an awkward mill pile. Two copies of two of our best cards. Oh, if they have a rip, we are actually dead. I don't know what to take here. Soul Cauldron makes... Yeah, we're just going to take Overlord. Whatever. I think the Overlord's actually right. Dredger's Insight doing its thing. Plants assembling. Llanowar to the graveyard. Hopefully we find a Soul Called Root in the future, though. Hey, Seth, watch on Commander Clash. We played Norn. I'm a fellow Norn enjoyer. Enjoyed seeing you play it. Here's my build, which is different but still fun. Hey, let me take a look, Mother Frogger. How are you, by the way, Mother Frogger? Well, there's a Knight Errant. Here comes the dorks. Well, we gotta make some plans. Oh, Himodane's Recruiter. 1-2, 1-2. So we play Overlord of the Baelmerk. Play Overlord of the Baelmerk. Impending. Mill some cards. Get back a Tyvar. And then I guess pass the turn, kill Arabella, but they also have Imodane's Recruiter. Looking a little scary here. Clockwork Percussionist. Are we dying? Imodane's Recruiter. Well, let's get rid of this Arabella, I guess. This is still gonna hurt a lot. This is still gonna hurt a lot. Opponent, combat. Attacks with everything. Well, we will block. And we will... Is this until the end of your next turn? That's actually very, very good. Well, block and block. Well, yeah, block and... Block and block. Ugh. We're going to need a really big turn, and I'm not sure we can actually do it. No, we didn't root because I think we have to kill the Arabella, or else we just die. I don't know if we can get back in it from here, though. So we can play Tyvar, take it down, make a plant. Too bad we can't roots and then Tyvar. That would be way better. Well, all right, Tyvar. We need some sort of weird high roll here. Take down Tyvar. Get back a Molt Tender. Make a plant gain some life. Maverick, the Molt Tender. Make a plant gain some life. Play another Molt Tender. I mean, maybe we're alive. Are we alive? We can't catch her money. Yeah, let's wait. I mean, we might be alive, sort of. Nah, we can't tap down our team to roots. We gotta have blockers up here. Next turn, we might be able to get down the second roots, hopefully. But I think this turn we need to have some amount of block. Ooh. Yeah, we definitely need some amount of blockers or we die. About it. Attacks with everything. Pumps their team. Well, you block here. You chump here. You chump here. And then Molt Tender. Make a plant. Gain a life. Molt Tender. Make a plant, gain some life. Okay, we're doing it. I think we're doing it, maybe. So we kill some stuff, we drop to 11, but the plants are still alive. Opponent getting some speed. Jeshes, welcome to the more Molt Tenders. An opponent scoops it up, and Molt Tender is so... I think we could have actually played that even better. Molt Tender is so sweet. Am I excited for the Pro Tour this weekend? Yes, and also scared. How excited are you for the Pro Tour this weekend? I'm very curious. Also, the Norn deck looks super fun. Norn's just such a unique commander. Ooh, new Hazaret. Interesting. That does look fun. So my thoughts on the Pro Tour. I am excited for it. On the other hand, I'm also a little scared. I feel like these self-bounce decks are going to be very overrepresented. Because here's my concern. These decks are already very good. And they are just the exact kind of decks that pros like to play. Because they're the, like, I get to do all these tricky lines. I can outplay my opponent since I'm a really good player. I'm going to get win percentage because I'm better than my opponents are. So I feel like we're going to see, my fear is we're going to see like 40-50% of the meta on self-mounts. I hope that's wrong. What I really want to see is someone break something new. Whether that be, I don't know, exhaust, radiant, like something crazy to come out of Ether Drift. Mono green Stompy. Oh yeah, maybe that would be awesome. That might be a long shot, but that would be super cool. Yeah, we don't get to see pro tour level events that often, so I'm hyped for it. I will be watching pro tours. Goblins might actually be kind of legit. They might actually be legit, at least based on Moto results. We've seen Goblins actually putting up results on Moto. Oh boy. Oh boy. Do we want a third Roots? Uh-oh. Maintenance soon. That's... Wait, is Arena going down? I mean, I don't think we're at a point where we need bannings right now, although I do understand how annoying it is to play against that deck. If a Pro Tour is overwhelmingly balanced, like 78% of the top 8, do you think Wizards does anything afterwards? So, I don't know that the top 8 matters that much. that might sound silly, but I'm not sure the top 8 actually matters all that much. We're going to play Roots here, because we mean Roots into Tyvar, into Rebel Belt Maverick. So, I think a better metric is going to be how many people show up with it on day 1. So what is this metagame percentage? And then how well do those players do at making day 2? Because I think when it comes to... Man, if we could play more Roots. Yeah, we got to play Tyvar, though. We got to start doing things. Tyvar. Oh, I saw the Blue-Red Goblins deck, too. Like, splashing for Mockingbird, mostly. Well, boy, that's not what we wanted to get, but okay. Rebel Maverick lets us do a little surveilling. Mill the land, keep the Overlord. Make a plant. Oh boy, Resolute. Oh, this is a big turn. This is a big turn. We need to survive this turn. If we survive this turn, we can have a nice turn next turn. But do we survive? Opponent, counting, looking. Oh, Knight Errant. Knight Errant Eveos, tapping him down. Okay, we're alive. We're not dead. Opponent, Arabella. And a nesting bot plays the Arabella. Okay, okay, okay. Well, we get to play a land, play a second Insidious Roots, play an Overlord of the Baelmerk, impending. As long as this hits any creature. Oh my. Wow. Oh no. Oh. All right, is there a way we can stay alive now? Oh, that was a disaster. That was a disastrous turn. Okay. So I guess the best we can do is that I don't know if we survive now. We can do this. We can get rid of the Arbella. Oh, that was real bad. I mean, so how unlikely is it? Oh, if they also have the Bushwhacker. Imodane's Recruiter. Well, here they come. Do we live? We block here. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Can we kill something? Wait, what if we block something that dies? What if we block here? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16? Then we have to take nothing next turn? Well, all right, sure. Down to 2. Comeback time. It's comeback time. Can we make the comeback? We do have a second Tyvar, which is huge. Ketramose. Well, so take down Tyvar. I won't let you fall. Get back the Llanowar Elves. Make 2 plants. Play Insidious Roots. Play Tyvar. Take down Tyvar. Okay, we didn't whiff this time. Get back the Gorehound. Make 3 plans. Surveil away the Scavenging Ooze. Surveil away the Molt Tender. And now all of our plans have haste. So let's see. White, black, green. Actually, we can tap the Llanowar. So play Ketramose. Wow, are we going to get back in this? Maybe this deck's kind of busted. And then counter on Ketramose. Make a bunch of plans. Surveil away the land. Surveil away the land. Keep the cash grab. All right. Not dead yet. Not dead yet. Mostly dead, but not all the way dead. Found it. Land. And, oh, does that beat us? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Gets rid of the biggest plant. We can survive 1 removal spell. Found it. Attacks with everything. Well, okay. So we will 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we got Anoint with Affliction. Actually, let's do this differently. So you block here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Blocked, 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 blocked. Okay, so we do that. And then we Anoint with Affliction the Nesting Bot. Since it's not our turn, it's not going to trigger the Ketramose. And opponent scoops it up. Woo! We did it! So Ketramose, the thing about Ketramose is it only triggers on our turn. So since we're at a low life, we just got to make sure that we don't exile stuff during our turn. So like the cash grab, if we cast it, well, I guess cash grab doesn't actually... Well, yes, but we just got to make sure we do stuff during our opponent's turn, right? We just got to make sure it's during our opponent's turn. So casting the Anoint with Affliction now is fine. If we did it during our turn, we take a damage and die from it. So that's the idea. I can't believe we won that one. Maybe this deck's actually good. So what do you think? What do you think's gonna be at the Pro Tour? Do you think? Here's my big question for the Pro Tour. It's super early. We're only like a week into the set. But honestly, if you look at like the last 7 days of internet results, there's not a ton of like Ether Drift decks. We see, if you go to like standard leagues, which is some of the in challenges, and you look for just new cards, if you scroll down to the bottom, it shows you new cards. Momentum Break, Rides End, just some utility stuff, some Verges, Spell Pierce, Utility Spell, Bobbles, of course. It's funny to see that it's actually the self-bounce decks that got the most updates, which is like Grim Bobble, Momentum Breaker. Domain, I guess, got a little bit. Some builds play Riptide Gear Hulk, but there isn't much like, I want to see someone break Monument of Endurance. I want to see, this deck looks kind of sweet. This was another one of the backup decks I got. Another Monument deck. I want to see someone break Monument of Endurance. I want to see someone break Radiant Lotus. That's what I'm holding out hope from. I want to see someone do something crazy with the new Ether Drift cards. And even though the early results aren't like super good, what is a Chandra deck? Bloodghast, Draconics Engineer, FOMO. Oh, Afterburner Expert's kind of legit. But I want to see someone break the new cards. Someone's gonna break Radiant Lotus. We played it for Against the Odds last week, but do you have a deck list for this? Yes. If you ever need the deck, ! Deck we'll get it for ya. Well, let's do some more Roots in. Team Handshake just announced on Twitter they'll be posting. I want to see what they're playing. Team Handshake has been one of the best teams of the last 2 years, maybe 3, like of the recent era of Magic, the post-pandemic era, the post top 5 esport era. You got anything planned with Mossborn Hydra? So we played it a little bit in that Hydra's deck, and then so Team Handshake, and then what was the other team? Sanctum of All? Sanctum of All, I think, also did really well last year. Handshake, though, is Handshake. You have Simon Nielsen, who's been on an absolute heater the last couple years. Eli's been playing really well. Christopher Larson, Swedish pro. Javier, 2-time world champion. Jesse Hampton, old school pro. Nathan Sauer, also Stewart, also really, really good. So a very, very strong team. Sanctum of All, I guess we should keep. Sorry about it. Sanctum of All also has some players who have done really, really well in the past couple of years, but I don't see just like a team listing anywhere. I see like a top 8 photo. Jason Yee, I believe, is one of the players, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It reminds me, I don't know how many of you have been around for the old school. Do you remember the old school pro tours where it was like Team Channel Fireball versus Team Star City Games, and that was like the big rivalry? It's kind of cool to see that sort of coming back. It's kind of neat to see actual teams mattering again in competitive play. A little bit of nostalgia there. A little bit of nostalgia. So, Mossborn Hydra. So Collector, these are the new achievements. When you do certain things, you get achievements, and sometimes those achievements give you titles. Sadly, Collector is the only title that I've gotten so far. I really would like another one, because Collector is not the most interesting title, but I have not gotten another one yet. Opponent takes our roots. Well, let's just Dredger's Insight. Get the life gain going. You should need the title Tired because you look like it. Wait, do I look tired today? Really? I mean, it is accurate because I buy a lot of boosters on Arena, so I guess it's fair, but oh no, corpses. All right, found it. Get in there. Hits us down to 17. Really need that roots. How do we get our roots? Well, let's Impendent Overlord. Do a little milling. Get back a Tyvar. Land and Molt Tender. Molt Tender is so good. There's some cool titles, though. We'll look at them in a minute. Also, I've become a lover of emotes because of this update. They added the perfect Blood Moon emote. So now all I do in my free time is I go to a Timeless and I try to play Blood Moons on people. And when I play the Blood Moon, I give them the boom lands. Am I right? I'm slowly morphing into Crim, trolling poor random arena users with emotes. But I can't help it. I didn't make the emote. Well, yeah, we got him. We got him. They will never recover from that from that brutal emote usage. I know. I wish I had the crowd surfing car and I missed that one. All right, now what? So we can play Tyvar, take down. We need bodies. We need bodies. So we could Thrill Seeker to kill the Gix. Actually, we might need to Thrill Seeker to kill the. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I have an idea. So what if we Thrill Seeker on the Molt Tender? Molt Tender kill the bat. Or Thrill Seeker kill the bat. Molt Tender kill the Gix. I think that's our plan. So let's play the land. I think this will work. So exile a card. Make a mana. Thrill Seeker. Back up the Molt Tender. Molt Tender, kill the Gix. Thrill Seeker, kill the Bat. Get back our Roots. Okay, game is on. Game is officially on. Johan Leafar, welcome to the Fishbowl. Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for your subscription. Big super for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank ya. About it. Getting in. You're asking about Sanctum roster. I know it's really big, but Jason Yee. I remember Jason Yee. CFT Sock. I'm not sure who that is. Nicole Triple. Wait. Oh, Nicole. Yeah. Okay, dude. Nicole's actually been. Has Nicole made a top 8 or been like consistently like top 16ing the last year? I think that actually sounds very familiar. Oh, Ray Zhang. Okay. Yeah. See, I know that name. I know Ray. I guess I don't know the nickname. Why aren't more people using Abyssal Harvester? Man, another bat. Opponent, will you chill with the bat in? Well, I mean, let's Overlord, I guess. Overlord. Do a little milling. Do a little blocking. Life without an Insidious Roots is rough. Although this Dredger's Insight life gain is giving us some amount of hope. We might have to just get back to Thrill Seeker. Yeah, let's Thrill Seek, gain a life, get back to Thrill Seeker, to kill the bat, to get back our Insidious Roots. I think the problem with Insidious Roots, the problem with Abyssal Harvester, I really like the card. I think that Abyssal Harvester is just a little bit slow in the current meta. Like, it has to lose Summoning Sickness to do anything. And in a world where this town is such a big part of the meta, it's just hard to play those type of cards in this format. Wow. Disfigure the Overlord. Yup. Down to 4. We draw land. Okay. Is there a way out of this? So we're at 4. Well, play Tyvar. Take down Tyvar.
Let's talk about this fight for centuries. Never give up. We can win.
Get back a Gorehound. Gain a life. Play Razor Verge that. Oh no, we got auto tapped. Oh. All right, play the Molt Tender. We did get a little auto tapped. Do a little surveilling. We need another green source up to play this Llanowar. I mean, I guess we can still. Oh, there's Ketramose. I think. Yeah, let's go Graveyard Ketramose. So we can tap the Molt Tender to exile an Overlord to gain a life. And then play the Llanowar. All right. I mean, we'll see if it's enough. Do a little surveilling. Something good for next turn. Ooh, okay. Scavenging Ooze is actually very good for next turn. All right, pass the turn. Double life with Ooze with the Dredger's Insight out. Unimpend. Do we survive? Oh, they can make a shuffle with the demo field. Yeah. All right. Opponent going to make a shuffle. There goes our Ooze. I'll grab a forest. You might need an Osteomancer for explosivity in this list. Goes crazy with Tyvar and Roots. Ooh. It could be a good one to add. Maybe we'll add a copy or two. What's my hype level for Final Fantasy? So we were talking about this a little bit earlier. Well, we're not dead all the way. But we're also not, like, super alive. So if they die, they get back that. Block. Block. We'll see. So we dropped to 4. We kind of wanted that Scavenging Ooze. So 1, 2, 3. Thrill Seeker. I mean, we gotta try it. We gotta try it. So red. Exile a Llanowar. Gain a life. Thrill Seeker. Back up the Molt Tender. Thrill Seeker. Kill the Deep Cavern Bat. Get back the Roots. Untap the Molt Tender. This deck has so many sneaky lines. Exile a Ketramose to make a plant and gain a life. Exile the Rubble Belt Maverick to make a plant and gain a life. Molt Tender, shoot down the Soulstone Sanctuary. And we get to unimpen our Overlord. Are we in this game? Are we in this game? Are we actually in this game somehow? Unimpenned. We're in this game. The Powered Dredger. I'm telling you, the Powered Dredger's insight. The Dredger's insight, gaining us life, is what is letting us stay alive. If it wasn't for that, we'd be dead. Broken Arena Grinder. Welcome to the Fishbowl. Thank you so much for your subscription. Big subscription for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, let's do a little surveilling. Mill a Rebel Belt Maverick. That's a nice mill. Rebel Belt Maverick on the Overlord, I guess. Trigger. Gain a life. Go to combat. Get in with the Overlord. Mill some cards. Get back a... Wait, can we just win with a Thrill Seeker? Oh, we can get back... Oh my god, Tyvar's insane. Get back Tyvar. Yeah, Tyvar is easily the best here. About it. What you gonna do against our Tyvars? Now we get to take down Tyvar, number 1. No, oh, there's the ooze. Get back the ooze. And opponent scoops it up. And this deck is so much fun. I played against this Roots deck last night while on Is It Monument. It was nothing I could do at all. Once it gets going, and I feel like this is also a deck that rewards you for playing it a bunch. Like, I have not played it a bunch. I feel like this deck has a ton of sneaky lines in it that can be learned. Why is Bloodghast not in this deck? So Bloodghast, it's okay. It's a good card. So the upside is, if we get it in our graveyard, we make a land drop, get it back, trigger Roots. That's nice. I think the downside is we don't really have synergies for it. I guess there's the one Volnaren Thrill Seeker. I would be much more excited about Bloodghast if we had a sack outlet of some kind. Like, if we could play land, get them all back, sack them, do it again. That, I think, would be really sweet. This is why you play... Yo, Rest in Peace, very good. Very, very good against this deck. I don't want to hear those words. I don't want to hear the words Rest in Peace. That is the nightmare for this deck. Molt Tender is actually like a combo piece. Yeah, if we could get some sack outlets, then I would be much more excited. I'd be much more excited about adding a... Oh, do we cut... A Ketramose? A Tyvar? I'd be a lot more excited about adding it, basically. Yeah, we do have a lot of answers to Rest in Peace. It can still, if we don't draw one, it can still get us. Do you think new loot would be fire in this deck? So in theory, loot works with any Agatha Soul Cauldron deck, just because it by itself is good with Soul Cauldron. We're going to try this. One land, I mean, this is like a nutty hand if we draw one more land. Double Roots. And 3 ways to fill a graveyard in a Molt Tender. Like, as long as we can cast our cards, this hand is busted. But yeah, the problem with loot is, it's really only specifically good if we get it under an Agatha Soul Cauldron. It's mana really clunky if we are trying to actually cast it in this deck. So I feel like, yes, it's really good with Soul Cauldron. I'm not sure it's worth adding into this deck in specific, though. It doesn't really work with our Tyvar synergies or other cheap creature kind of stuff. And if we don't have Soul Cauldron, it just doesn't do anything. Moltender is kind of Deathrite Shaman at home. I don't think that's an unfair comparison. We're gonna draw land, right? Land off the top. Lands, am I right? Let's get our emote ready. Let's get our emote ready for when we top deck the land. Yeah, people mention Osteomancer Adept, and we might add one in after this game, just to see how it feels, because it does seem really cool, like the synergies. Oh, all right. Well, that's kind of like a really slow, painful land. I guess we're doing it. Pass turn. About it. Schwamp. Did you all see that plane flip over yesterday? What is going on with flying these days? I'm actually like, I don't know if it's just that maybe that when something happens like a plane crash, then anything similar gets covered by the news, so we hear about it more. But it feels like your dad was at the airport when it happened. It got me thinking about it because Tomer was actually, was it in Toronto? I know it was in Canada. Tomer was flying from Toronto to France on Sunday. Hey, what's up, Stone Raid? How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Oh, I didn't mean to awaken conspiracy theories. I've seen all this plane stuff, and I'm like, man, should I be? On one hand, I'm like, I know that statistically, they say that flying is safer than driving, right? Like, straight up, by the stats, you're less likely to die. But then when there is, like, news coverage of a plane disaster, it's just, like, everywhere. Yeah, it seems like the FAA is kind of important. I feel like if we're going to fly, having people in charge of that is probably wise. How many frequent fly? I mean, I think the scariest one was when the wing just blew off the plane, or that the door blew off the plane. That was like a year or two ago. That one, because I'm a big dude, so I always go for exit row seats. And now I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna go for exit rows anymore, because that's where those doors are. So we can play Ketramose. We can play Tyvar. We could just kill a. Actually, we need a land. All right, let's do it this way. Let's Dredger's Insight. I think our plan is Dredger's Insight to hit our land drop. Get back a Razorverge Thicket. Play the Razorverge Thicket. And now we can just pass. Anoint with Affliction one of the bats to get back Roots. And then next turn, hopefully Roots Tyvar. Ugh. Worst case, Roots Overlord. We're still going to kill a bat. Getting rid of the Gix would be nice, but we really, 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 really want back our Insidious Roots. That's kind of the card that makes our deck work. Snipe a bat. Opponent, yes, you get to draw a card. Lose a life. Gain a life with lifelink. All right, come on, Dag. Land. Yoda Man! Welcome to the Fishbowl. Thank you so much for your subscription. Big super here for you. Thank you. Well, that's Insidious Roots. And then Exile to make a black mana, a Gore. Actually, let's exile the spider. Exile the spider, make a plant. And then we can Overlord of the Bailmerk. Impending. Mill some cards. Get back a Tyvar. And pass the turn, hope for the best. Any advice on some things that I can cut from my deck? I love them all, but 110 probably isn't ideal. That could be the hardest part of making a commander deck. There's the corpses. I hope Esper Bounce doesn't dominate the Pro Tour. I am with you on that. I also hope Esper Bounce does not dominate the Pro Tour, although I'm also afraid that it might. At least by metagame percentage. I don't think it's an unbeatable deck, but I think it'll be a very heavily played deck. I don't want to go to work. Evergreen tweet. Oh, all right, there goes our Roots. That's not great. We kind of needed that. Sort of needed that. So we can play a Ketramose, but it's not on yet. Ketramose is actually kind of tricky to turn on in this deck, isn't it? How do we not die? Well, let's play Tyvar. Play Tyvar, take one. Take down Tyvar, mill some cards.
This will be never give up. We can win.
Get back the Gorehound. Gain a life. Play the Molt Tender. Oh, do we have to keep this land? We need removal. Let's put it to the bottom. And pass. Yeah, all of our synergies kind of fall apart if we don't have a roots. Things become much, much harder. Seth MacFarlane was supposed to be one of the 9/11 flights from Boston to Logan. Yeah, that's wild. That has to be a crazy thing to deal with mentally. To know that you could have been. I've heard stories of that, not even involving like 9/11 or whatever, but just like stories of people who, for whatever weird reason, like something happens and they miss their plane or they miss their bus or something by some freak accident, and then there ends up being a disaster. And yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know how you like comprehend that. The fact that you feel like, wow, that would have been me. I went to a planetary qualifier for Star Wars Unlimited, equivalent to a PTQ. Went 3-2 with a rogue deck. Hey, congratulations, Stone Rain. Had to leave early because I wasn't feeling well. I'm glad I did well with the jank. How was the Star Wars? How was the Star Wars game? One of the creators of Marvel. Wait, isn't Marvel way later than that? If you ever need the deck list, ! Deck will give you the downloadable. Best card game I've ever played. That is very high praise. Very, very high praise. We just lose here, right? I don't think there's a way out of this. Mill land. Egg of the Soul Cauldron. Good card. We just don't have a roots. I wish we need a way to get our roots back. That would be nice. Well, yeah, we're just dead in the air. We can't actually, well, we can gain a life. Is it possible? Is there a way out of this? Not without roots. So Soul Cauldron can turn things into an ooze. I mean, I guess that does gain a lot of life. I don't think it gains enough life.
Show them what you're made.
So we play the Soul Cauldron. We can we turn on Ketramose? We're at 4, 5, 6, 1. Maybe we can turn on Ketramose. So make a black. Exile the Gorehound. Gain a life. So that's 5 in exile. Play the Ketramose. And then Soul Cauldron. Exile the Scavenging Ooze. That's 6 in exile. Oh man, that would have been so good if we were alive. All right, and pass the turn. I don't think this is enough because of the Bloodletter. Because they have 2 flyers, right? So this hits us for 6 in the air. We can gain up to 9 with the ooze ability. Actually 10. Forsaken Miner, that doesn't change anything. Oh wait, no, that has haste. Oh, this corpse is the lost. Oh, and that gets, okay, wait, but all these ground creatures just smash into Ketramose. Does that even help? Wow, opponent swings out. Okay. Oh, this means we do have to tap 1 early. Huh. So tap this. Exile a card. Gain a life. Turn on Ketramose. Exile. Gain a life. There's no way. Oh, yeah. There's no way this is going to be enough. Well, we gave it the old college try, as they say. Wow, we don't even have creatures to exile. That's awkward. Sure. Exile a thing. So close. Urborg Repossession, yeah. I remember playing that in older versions of Roots. That might be worth it. Huh. How do we yes. How do we fight this? What is our best bet? Northern Vanguard. Welcome to the Fishbowl. Thank you so much for your subscription. Big super thank you. I will say, on the Final Fantasy thing, so I'm not. Oh, that's cool. Pascal Menard was in your event. That's super sweet. So I will say on the Final Fantasy thing, I think the set's going to be big. One of the ways I judge how popular content's going to be, and this is very unscientific, but when we do a video about something, how much interaction is there with that video? And yesterday, we did a podcast where it wasn't even like titled on anything to do with Final Fantasy. It was about when you go to F&M and a GameStop. So it wasn't even titled on that. But if you look at the comments to that podcast, not only were there a lot of comments, but like 80% of the comments were about Final Fantasy. Like Final Fantasy. I think this set's going to be really big. I think it has potential to be Lord of the Rings big, because Lord of the Rings wasn't even in standard, right? Like it wasn't even in standard. Now Final Fantasy has the benefit of being standard legal, which makes it relevant for standard players, for Pioneer players, for Brawl players, the dozens of them that exist. But it makes it relevant for more players. I feel like this is going to be a huge set. Is this an S tier crossover? I can't imagine Garrick's there. I would be shocked if we started to see Magic characters in Universes Beyond sets. I just don't see it. I don't see it happening. I don't think they'll do it. South Park. I imagine South Park is too mature for Wizards. And then I imagine that the Harry Potter just has too much baggage for Wizards to do. So I would be surprised. Ooh, don't know what Final Fantasy is. I know what Final Fantasy is. I've never played Final Fantasy, but Final Fantasy is like one of the biggest video game series of all time. What are the, let me see. I think I actually learned this before. What are the top selling video game franchises? I'm pretty sure Final Fantasy is like literally top 10. If you just look at like the most selling games, Mario, Tetris, COD, Pokemon, Grand Theft Auto, Minecraft, FIFA, Wii? Wait, Wii is a... there's Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy, 185 million. So it's like just outside the top 10 of most popular games of all time. So I think just because of that, like even just that goes, oh man, we got to take the land. Yeah, we'll take the land. Someday we're going to have Egg of the Soul Cauldron. It's going to be sweet. Wii Sports is super fun. I watched there was a Wii Sports Summoning Salt that was really good. Since Cloud is an equipment commander, what do you think his giant sword will do? So I don't know Final Fantasy well enough. There's got to be some big Final Fantasy people in the chat. How does Cloud's sword, what does it do in Final Fantasy? Is there anything that would push the magic card in a certain direction design-wise? I'm very curious about that, because I've never played Final Fantasy. Like, what would make sense flavor-wise for the sword? Is it just going to be like a magic sword? Like, you know, it deals more damage type of things? Or does it do something more specific than that? It's very big. So like a Colossus hammer, like with that, a Colossus hammer style sword makes sense. Like, it's so big you can't even pick it up unless you're this guy type of thing. They do have speedrunning in Wii Sports, yeah. Some of these solve videos are so entertaining. I can watch them even if I don't care. Toga Body for the 33rd month. Hey Seth, as a UB enjoyer, I'm super excited about the upcoming Final Fantasy set. Also, almost 3 years sub to you. Thank you so much, Toga Buddy. Welcome back to the Fishbowl. Big soup cheer for you. Thank you. I'm pretty excited for the set too, honestly. Mostly because just seeing how excited Richard is for it, it's got me hyped about it, because he's like very, very, very excited. Let's say Tyvar. Play a rebel about Maverick. See if we can surveil into a land. Ooh, boy, oh boy, oh boy. Now what? Now what do we do? I want both of these, but we need a land more. Do we have to mill a roots? That feels bad. Mill a roots to try to find a land? Like, I feel like we need to get to the spider. What if we keep the roots? If we keep the roots, we just do literally nothing next turn. Yeah, all right. Gotta do it. Raging Goblin, welcome to the Fishbowl. Thank you so much for your subscription. Big soup for you. Thank you. Not Final Fantasy VII specific. So far, we've seen a mixture. I feel like each of the face commanders they showed off yesterday was from a different game, from what people are saying. Like, one of them's from 14, one of them's from 7, one of them's from 10 or something. So it's definitely a mixture. It's not just Final Fantasy VII. It is all the games. Well, there goes Maverick. Opponent getting in, hitting us. Down to 15. If you play another bat, Forsaken Miner. Pretty aggro. Well, I mean, play the Tyvar. These spiders would be so good if we could cast them. Take down the Tyvar. The Dredger's Insight's helping us stay alive, though. Are you going to co-stream the announcement in an hour? Wait, what is the announcement? Well, let's get Rebel Belt Maverick, I guess, so we can surveil. We still need a land. Untapped, preferably. All right, oh, there we go. Land and Soul Cauldron. We will keep those. Wait, are they... Wait. Is it a spoiler stream today? Oh, we will... Okay, we will... Yeah, that is the reason that we moved the stream earlier, is specifically so we could check out the spoiler streams when they happen. So we will check it out. If they are doing new spoilers, yes, we will watch it. If they're just talking about the same cards from yesterday, we will not watch it. Apparently in an hour there's a stream, so yes, we'll definitely keep an eye out for it and we'll check it out. If they're showing off new cards, we'll definitely watch it. I'm curious too. They can't show off that much though, because remember, this set doesn't come out till June. We still got to go through Tarkir first. I imagine that we'll get some spoilers from Tarkir, from Chicago, and maybe more Final Fantasy. Typically, they do a pretty big spoiler show. All right, yeah. I mean, well, spoiler stream. I didn't even know it was a spoiler stream. Maybe I have to update the stream the stream title. So Roots and Final Fantasy spoilers. I didn't even realize we had spoilers today. Well, our opponent's doing a good job at killing all of our stuff. Man, this hurts, but I think we got to just play it. Play the spider. Just as a blocker. We'd much rather be killing things. Yeah, Cauldron. I was thinking about Cauldron yesterday, and I feel like Cauldron is an against the odds card. I feel like Cauldron is an against the odds card. Normally, Wizards would print Cauldron as like a 5 or 6 mana artifact, but it's like an against the odds card that they decided to push. If they printed that as like a 6-mana artifact, we'd be playing it for against the odds, but it wouldn't see competitive play. So to me, it feels like an against the odds card that they decided to juice enough to see competitive play, which kind of makes me love it. Well, let's gain some life. Yeah, I don't think this is a good place to debate Rowlings. I will just say, from Wizards' perspective, I just can't see them wading into something that controversial with a set. Like, there's no point in debating like the same stuff. There's many places that we can debate that stuff on the internet that if we want to do that. I don't think our Twitch chat's gonna be a productive place for it. But I will say, I just think that because of the controversies, I see that as it making it very unlikely that Wizards is going to be like, oh, let's do a whole set around this, because then they have to deal with those controversies. And I'd be surprised if they wanted to have to deal with that. Oh, man, if only we had a Roots. So, we can play a Sad Spider. We play the Gorehound. Gorehound. Well, I mean, I guess we just got to do it. Spider again. From Tarkir, I want a Siege Rhino. That's all I care about. It's gotta be a Siege Rhino. That's all I want. A straight up reprint, or I want a straight up reprint, or I want a Mythic Siege. I want Planeswalker Siege Rhino. I want our first Rhinoceros Planeswalker. That's what I'm looking for. Found it. Gonna get him with the Sanctuary and the Miners. Well, I mean, we'll block a Miner. Take 5. Down to 5. Opponent passes. We draw land. Well, let's play a Soul Cauldron. Wow, opponent gonna give us some extra mana. Oh, they want to get back there. I see. They want to get back there Forsaken Miner, but we'll float a mana. I hope we have one more basic, I think, unless we milled it. All right, we have a basic. Grab the Forest. So we get the Soul Cauldron. Play the Gorehound. Soul Cauldron. Exile and Ooze. Put a counter on the Spider. If they had removal, they would have just played it last turn. So we'd be pretty confident they don't have removal here, else we'd already be dead. Now we can exile Ketramose, game 2. This deck's actually very good. Seems very good at getting super low on life and then stabilizing. Hey, what's up, the Bucket Man? How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm actually very excited to see this. I feel like, so how do you feel about the flavor of Final Fantasy? Because I kind of feel like this is going to be a Universes Beyond set that feels pretty magic-y. Yeah, the deck is very good at just barely not dying. And now we get our Overlord, too. We might have turned the corner here. Found it. Wow. Oh, they had removal, just not removal they could hit the Spider. Well, that's an Overlord. Add to the mix. Back up to 8. We can go up to 10 with our Spider-Ooze. Is Final Fantasy considered to be anime? Is it an anime set? I'm hoping we see the mechanical care for Final Fantasy that we saw with... So, I will say, just the rumblings I hear are that when it comes to Universes Beyond sets, some of the IP holders are super loose and are like, do whatever you want. Like, whatever. Give us our money, do whatever you want. Then some IP holders are very hands-on, and they want to check everything, approve everything, and are very, very active in protecting their IP. From what I've heard, Final Fantasy is very far on that side of things. So I would be shocked if this set wasn't like knocked out of the park flavor wise, because that's just the rumblings I've heard. Is that I don't even know the IP holder's name, whoever owns Final Fantasy, but that's the rumblings I've heard. Is they're actually very, very actively involved in making sure that the set is going to meet their standards, unlike some other ones where it's just like straight up, we don't care, like give us our money and you can do whatever you want with our IP. So yes, I think it's pretty safe to assume that the flavor is going to be good, because I imagine they would not let it go otherwise. Well, Spider up to 6, gain a little life, untap, Molt Tender. Well, play a Molt Tender. We don't really have anything else good to Roots at the moment. Well, go to combat. And opponent scoops it up. Oh, I mean, obviously that doesn't mean that they'll make all the same choices that you or I would make, but yes, I think the IP is gonna be very protected on this one. Was Square Enix always like that, or direct response to the Wide Leaf Band movie? I really don't know. I don't know anything about the movie. That's just the I know about the magic stuff. So I've just heard the magic rumblings from WotC people and whatnot, just behind the scenes, casual talk, and that's just one of the things I've heard in passing. Well, let's do a couple more. We don't have spoilers yet, so far this deck has felt really good. I think I would recommend this deck so far. Final Fantasy is probably S tier crossover. They also confirmed that our first set of next year will be Lorwyn. And I don't know if I should be excited or scared. Like, Lorwyn is one of the planes that I would... Oh, we gotta restart, that's right. Lorwyn is one of the planes... Avert your eyes, chat. Avert your eyes. I don't know. Ooh, all right. Pretty... We're filling up. We're getting there. Oh, yes. Update. Arena update. But I feel like Lorwyn, I'm very excited for it. It's one of the planes I want to return to most. But then I got the fear in the back of my head. If you look at the first set of the year, the last couple years, set 1 was go back to Ravnica, but it's a murder mystery with detective hats. Set 2 was we're kind of going back to Kaladesh and Amonkhet, or Avishkar and Amonkhet, but not exactly, because it's this race set. So is Lorwyn going to be Lorwyn-y, or is it going to be like, I don't know, like, here's a birthday party in Lorwyn, or so, like something, what has hats? Birthday hats, right? People wear birthday hats. What kind of hat could we put into Lorwyn? I'm hoping it just feels very Lorwyn-y, though. What else does Square Enix actually do? Or is it just Final Fantasy? Lauren will be Kellen with pointy ears. Do you think we get Kithkin again? Or did Lord of the Rings kill Kithkin? I wonder if Kithkin are hobbits now. Or maybe... Could we get an errata? Because Kithkin and hobbits are kind of the same thing, right? Like, is there any world where we go back to Lorwyn, they bring back Kithkin, but they rename them all hobbits, or Kithkin and hobbits somehow count as the same creature type? Would that be good or bad? Should hobbits be the same as Kithkin? I feel like they probably should be flavor-wise. Love your content. Any chance you'd like to see my $65 anti-meta Simic brew? Ooh, I'd love to. This no roots, but it seems fine. Anti-meta Simic. All right. Yep. Lots of artifact destruction. I like it. Stuff that is fine to be bounced. Paw Patch Recruiter punishes if it gets bounced. How has it worked for you? I could see it being pretty good against the self-bounce decks for sure. It looks solid against self-bounce decks. Well, Blooming Marsh and Rumble Belt Maverick. Those are some good cards. Yeah, I think we want both of those. Are you a part of the MTD Goldfish team, or is it just you? So, Goldfish, I'm the content manager at Goldfish. So Goldfish, Richard is the owner of the site. I'm the content manager, and then we also have Krim that makes content, Tomer, Phil makes content, and then a couple of other, like Joe Dyer writes This Week in Legacy. A couple of people like that. They don't do video content, so it's a team. It's a team. Although the stream is just me. So if you ever see the Goldfish channel streaming, it's me. What are we? But on the YouTube, for example, there's a few of us around. Oh, what's your YouTube, the Bucket Man? Well, let's see how we do against some self-bounce action. I feel like artifacts might actually be good. Do you guys do it full-time or part-time? So everyone that makes video content is a full-time Goldfish employee. Some of the, like Joe Dyer, some of the people that just do articles, like a weekly article series, they're not full-time. But Richard, Tomer, Krim, Phil, and I, and also Morgan now as an editor. So I guess there's 6 of us that are full-time. Let's just Tyvar. How many video editors do you have? I know one from filling in for Clash. So like 2-ish. Actually, so Morgan kind of edits full time. So Morgan's a full-time editor. Phil also does a decent amount of editing. Although that's not his only thing. And then we have someone that does some of the easier editing for like gameplay stuff. That's just kind of like not creative editing, but just cutting out like dead space between matches. So that's someone that just does it on a like a per video basis. So I guess like I'd say 2.5 editors, something like that, with Morgan being the full-time one. I think we'll see more. I think we'll see more Morgan in the future on content, most likely. And you'll see more Phil too. Phil, so the only problem with Phil's content is it just takes him a very long time to make it. So it's going to be hard to see more like Phil individual gameplay content, but Phil's doing more like podcasty stuff and Commander Clash stuff. So you can see Phil more there. Oh, jeez, so much removal. Yeah. We didn't want that scavenging ooze anyway. Esper. Well, let's Dredger's Insight. If we can just find a Roots, mill some cards, get back in Overlord, Rumble Belt Maverick. I mean, I think we're doing okay. We'll keep one of the lands, mill one of the lands. Take up Tyvar. Pass the turn. Is there any chance of a draft pot of Commander Clash? I mean, is that something you'd enjoy? Phil is the most talented video editor I've ever seen. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, he's the most gifted video editor I've ever worked with. so yeah, Phil is really, really good at editing videos. So chat, what should we be expecting in this Final Fantasy set? If you're someone that knows Final Fantasy, are there any current magic mechanics that you feel like would be especially good in the set? Is there anything you're like, oh my god, this magic mechanic is so perfect for this Final Fantasy set, it's just got to be in there? Is there anything like that, or no? I mean, I'm sure there's going to be serialized cards. Also, I have a question for you, chat. I'm still confused by this. And I'm sure some of you will know the answer. But like I said, I'm not a Final Fantasy player, so I don't know the answer. Oh, that's a Soul Cauldron. Well, actually, you know what? Well, let's do it this way. Wait, what's in our graveyard? How good is Soul Cauldron? A bunch of oozes. Yeah, we gotta keep it. So yeah, my question. Let's pass the turn. My Final Fantasy question, the most important one. Why is the set symbol a chicken? Are chickens important to Final Fantasy for some reason? Like I don't really understand. I don't really understand the set symbol. Wall of Chaos for the 98th month. Oh boy, here they come. Mounds in it. Welcome to Fishbowl. Thank you so much for your subscription. Big super here. Thank you. It's a Chocobo? What's a Chocobo? Is that just chicken in Final Fantasy? Wait, you ride? No, you ride that? No. Oh, I might have to try Final Fantasy now. All right, maybe I'm gonna have to try that game. I didn't know you got to ride around on a big chicken. Kokobo. Okay, Kokobo. Oh, so it's like a Mega Ultra Chicken. Interesting. It's like a chicken mount. Okay. Oh man, you know that is probably gonna be a card. We're gonna get a Chocobo. We're gonna get a Chocobo mount. That's why we got all the mount support in this last set. They wanted to set us up for the Chocobo. Wait, is Chocobo a Final Fantasy thing or like a, I don't know, Japanese folklore thing or something? Like, is Chocobo specifically Final Fantasy, or is it a broader like cultural thing that I don't get because I'm a dumb American? It's a Final Fantasy thing. Okay. Well, let's untap. Draw our Soul Cauldron. Play our Soul Cauldron. Go to combat. Get in with the Maverick. Hit ya. And tick up our Tyvar. And pass the turn. Maybe we'll see the sword today. Maybe that'll be part of our spoilers in an hour. I'm glad I don't know anything about Final Fantasy, so I won't realize how bad Seth mispronounces the names. That is my favorite part of Universes Beyond. I get to share my wonderful pronunciations with other fandoms that have never heard my pronunciations before. I'm pretty sure most Lord of the Rings fans kind of want to murder me. I mispronounce so many of their favorite things. I'm sorry, Lord of the Rings fans. I'm sorry. Apparently there are early Final Fantasy spoiler stream in about a half hour today. I didn't even know there was a spoiler stream today, but that's what they're telling me. So we're gonna turn it on at 1 Eastern and see what the deal is. Well, you know what? Let's Well, are we cash? I don't want to cash this in. That feels bad. I don't want to do anything this turn. Well, let's play the land. Let's tick up on the Molt Tender, and yeah, I mean, pass the turn. Chew, as in choose. Co, as in coca. Bow, as in bow. Chocobo. Chukobo. Bone it. Hopeless Nightmare. Seth, did you pronounce that one viewer from years ago that had the wacky name you had in the stream highlight video? I wasn't even sure if I should include that one. I know y'all think I intentionally mispronounce some things. I honestly just did not see that. Like, I honestly did not see that one. It's hard when you're streaming and it's just a string of names together. All right, let's put a counter on the Robobot Maverick. Gain a life. We really could use some action here. How about a forest? Well, let's take down this Tyvar. Action. Action.
Rally, my friend.
Well, let's get I guess an ooze is better than what else we got going on. Get an ooze, gain some life. Play the land. Go to combat. Hit you with a Maverick. This deck is so much different when we don't have a Roots. Like, the deck still functions. Like, we're playing this weird, like, sort of fair game plan that's kind of working adjacent. Bonnet, gonna kill the ooze. I mean, we can turn something else into the ooze if we need to with our Egg of the Soul Cauldron. Boiler Biggles. I might have thought that sounded good. Oh no, here it comes. Nurturing Pixie. Gonna do a little bouncing. What are we bouncing though? Gonna go for the Storm Chaser's talent. Sure. Opponent gets in at Tyvar. I mean, we will block. And Soul Cauldron. Eat an ooze. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I still think my favorite mispronunciation of all time was Scumble to Temptation. That is an old school one. Just, it still cracks me up when I hear it. Every once in a while someone brings it up, and it still cracks me up because it's just the confidence with which I said scumble, which is obviously not a real word, it was impressive. I just went with it instead of succumb. See, some of those, like Raccoon Theater versus Raucous Theater, that's just, I know what the right word is. I just think it's kind of funny. You gotta remember, half of the things that come out like that are actually just me trying to entertain myself. Because remember, like, recording a video, it's like a lot of hours sitting here and like talking into a microphone, playing Magic. And sometimes Raccoon Theater, you know, you gotta keep yourself entertained. There actually is Against the Odds phonics. Maybe we might need an update because that was a long time ago, but definitely was Against the Odds phonics on the YouTube if you want to hear some of the best, or I guess worse, pronunciations. What I really want is Wizards to make a secret lair drop out of my mispronunciations. I want a secret lair drop that actually has a Raucous Theater, but it's Raccoon Theater. I want an actual bugler rat, like a cute little rat playing the bugle. Like, couldn't there be a good secret lair drop in there? I would buy, and not only buy, but I would promote for Wizards. Secret lair mispronunciations. I would do it. The Seth breathing supercut video. Wait, I don't know. Did I might have missed that one. I heard the word. I saw the one recently of all my holding out of vowels. Saffron olive. Even that, like, stuff like that, I don't even realize I'm doing it most of the time. Like, I do it without realizing it. It's the same thing. It's actually the same thing with voice stuff, where people will be like, "Oh, are you talking weird or different because you're in a YouTube video?" And if I am, I don't know. You tell me, I guess. But it's not like, if I am, it's not something I sit out and think, "Well, I'm doing a YouTube video, I'm going to talk like this." It's just kind of what happens. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I think the accent, mountain, has something to do with it too. Good old upstate New York accent. Your card pronunciations are an underrated part of your charm as a streamer. I also agree that Saffron Olive Secret Lair drops are so hard. I would buy a pack for myself and all my friends. LOL. Hey, Cat Cam fan, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, we saw Bear for a minute earlier. We might see him again. I'm sure he'll wander in at some point. So we might see Bear again. Cease, I haven't seen in a minute, but I'm sure she'll appear at some point too. See Grump Ghost. Oh boy. Well, okay. Life used to be good, but now life is bad. How do we make life good again? I guess drawing a haywire would make life good again. We should have brought in more enchantment removal. Okay. Well, now we know. We want all of our enchantment removal because you know what the literal best card in the game is against our deck? I think it's Rest in Peace. As a new player, what should I do with rare wild cards? I have almost no rare land cards. Buying lands or buying popular deck cards? That is a great question, Mesh, and it's actually a very difficult one to answer. So, my advice would be this. If you don't already have a deck that you want to play, I would spend my wild cards to build my first deck. Choose Neo Dragon with the gift sub to Jonoff. Welcome to the Fishbowl. Thank you so much for your subscription. Big super for you. Thank you. I guess we Gorehound. And we actually get to get down the Stretcher's Insight because our opponent picked up their... Well, all right, we'll take a... Actually, we probably want this more. I think we want another green source. Yeah, let's get the Blooming Marsh. Play the Blooming Marsh. Go to combat. Get in with the ooze. Would you like to block opponent? Think of that you can kill our with the fear of isolation. All right, opponent's going to take it. Well, we will eat the Llanowar. I'm sure they're going to play the Rest in Peace again anyway. Hit you down to 16. I mean, it's kind of working. The only time I could realistically hear a quote-unquote YouTube voice with the content and the opening of the video, that might... I guess I can see. At this point, hello, everyone, it's Seth. Probably, but at this point, I feel like that's kind of just a meme. I've done it for so long. I can't, there's no undoing it at this point. It is what it is. Wait, so is this a replacement effect? Exile it instead, yeah, it is. Huh. Well, I mean, play the Roots, I guess. Play the Maverick, I guess. Tyvar doesn't do much with this Rest in Peace out. Oh, Ketramose might be good, though. Well, let's mill the Verge. Yeah, it should make it easy to get enough stuff in exile. Get in, hit ya. Well, maybe Ketramose can carry us to victory. Hit you down to 11. Opponent. Dredger's Insight is from among the milled cards. That is true. So we still would have got a card in our hand either way. Wouldn't have been able to fill our graveyard for the ooze, but our graveyard's probably not gonna help this game anyway. Opponent hits us. Opponent has no black mana, which I think is probably saving us right now. There is a cost to being 3 colors in Standard. I started watching in the last year. Had no idea who Zephyr Olive is. Maybe I could get rid of it. I feel like I can't drop the intro because it's such a tradition now. There's every once in a while I don't do it, and some people complain about not knowing who I am without the intro. Fear of isolation to pick up a land, sure. And another Pixie. Wow, this is gonna be close. Picks up a Fear of Isolation. Now let's go to combat. Get in with the ooze. About it. Oh, gonna kill it. Okay, that turns on Ketramose. Kill the Fear of Isolation. Ooze down, but Ketramose is on. And pass the turn. All right, opponent. Can you beat a Ketramose? 7 cards in exile. The god is actually a god. About it. I think we might have got him. Oh, the no face cam era. Yeah, that was actually a pretty long era. Oh, opponent using the lands in my right emo. All right, I think we're undefeated so far. We're almost actually up to Mythic. Maybe this deck's actually kind of busted. Do you think the Final Fantasy set will have an impact on Standard? What are you doing, Bearby? Bearby. Come here, bub. Come here, Bear. Come say hi to people. What are you doing, bud? What are you doing? Hey, buddy. How are you? Where are you going? Can you sit? Sit down? There you go, buddy. How are you, bear? What are you doing, buddy? Were you going outside? Yeah? You gonna go outside? Yeah. Can you say hi? Everyone's looking at you. See how big you are. Yeah, you good boy. Yeah. Yeah. Look at you, big boy. Oh, good boy. Okay, you can go outside. That's fine. Go do what you gotta do. Wait, what were you talking? I got distracted. I got distracted by the bear. Spoiler! So apparently the spoiler stream's starting in 21 minutes. So we'll be watching it. We'll be watching it together as soon as it comes on. When will we have a bear cam? Oh, that would be sweet. I might be able to make it work at least sometimes. Yeah, he's a little more than a tutu, aren't you, bud? You're a little bit bigger than a tutu. He's a big boy. Well, we're gonna play for, wow, it's a lot of molt tenders. We're gonna tend some molts. Do I think the Final Fantasy set will have impact on standard? So here's my expectation on that. So I will say, I think Ether Drift has not had a huge impact on standard. My expectation is, with Final Fantasy and other iconic universes beyond sets, I think they're gonna be juiced. I would be shocked if there were not at least a decent number of cards from the set that impact standard. Like, when they made Lord of the Rings, they made sure that they could impact modern. And modern is a much, hey buddy, is a much harder format, a much bigger and more powerful format to actually make cards break into. I think almost certainly they will have cards that break into standard. I would be so surprised if they did not. Let's just play another Molt Tender. Oh! Just kidding. Let's mill a card with our Molt Tender. That's what I meant. We didn't want that Llanowar Elves anyway. We got to stack our graveyard. That's our whole point. So yes, if anything, I have the fear that... Okay, Jet, is this a conspiracy theory? All right, is this a conspiracy theory? Talk me down. Talk me down off the ledge, Jet. So, you're panting very loudly, bud. I think people can hear you. Are you panting in the mic? You're a loud panter. Listen to you. You could be a YouTuber, bud. You could be a YouTuber with that voice. If anything, I'm worried that they go too far. If anything, that's my fear, is that the sets are too strong. Now let's get down this Insidious Roots, which is actually kind of insane here. Opponent, would you like to Soul Cauldron us? Play another Molt Tender. And now if our opponent Soul Cauldrons us, we get a plant, which is kind of a nice bonus. Pass turn. Okay, so is this a conspiracy theory, chat? I will say that Ether Drift is what I meant to say. Ether Drift, it seems like kind of a medium to low power set. It hasn't had a huge immediate impact on standard. Someone told me the other day, and I've been thinking about it ever since, that their theory is that Wizards is intentionally trying to make in-universe sets look worse and perform worse so they can promote universes beyond sets. So essentially, what if we made Ether Drift kind of suck and everyone hate it? And then it'll be easier in the future for us to, do all universes beyond, or use that as a justification of being like, well, look at all these universes beyond sets that sell so good. Look at these in-universe sets. Like, no one bought Murders at Karlov Manor. When I first heard it, my initial reaction was, there is no way. There's no possible way. And that's still mostly where I'm at. It's really hard for me to imagine a billion-dollar company tanking their own products. Here's the problem. Here's the problem I have with the conspiracy theory. Wizards doesn't have to do that, right? Like, they don't need to. Like, they don't really need to justify anything. Like, if they want to drop all in-universe sets and make all universes beyond sets, Wizards can do that, and we can't do a thing to stop it. Like, it is what it is, right? Do you think it's actually realistic? The only thing that makes it seem slightly believable to me is I do have zero faith with Wizards and data. Like, I've just had too many experiences with Wizards being kind of sketchy with data that it's believable to me that Wizards would manipulate data to achieve their goal. I don't think it's intentional. It's the more time I think that's actually the easiest explanation. Like, when it comes down to it, if you look at Warhammer commander decks versus just an average Magic commander deck, the Warhammer ones are better, right? Like, they're better. But I think that's not a product of Wizards being like, oh, we're going to make one better than the other. I think it's when they have another IP, they invest more time and money into it than they do when they're building, whatever, Murders at Karlov Manor Commander Precon number 3. When this is our one shot to make Doctor Who or make Warhammer or whatever, not Fortnite. What was the other Fallout? Make Fallout. This is our one chance to do this. We're going to put all of our time and resources and effort into it. So I think that's most likely what happens. It's more just like a time and resource allotment issue than like, oh, we're going to try to make a set bad to make other sets look better. Wouldn't it make more sense to like make one set good and the other set even better if you want to do that or something, rather than like tanking your money? Yeah, early cons, or not cons, early Final Fantasy previews today. The scheduling is a little bit weird. No doubt about that. But yeah, I don't know. They like doing these early spoilers. They say it's for local game stores. That's the reason they exist, is so local game stores can have a heads up about what's coming or whatever. Yeah, I think we're supposed to get the first Tarkir previews on Friday, someone said. Ooh, Scavenging Ooze is kind of nice here. Is it fast enough? I'm not sure, but it is pretty nice. So opponent can exile the engineer before we get it down. We do want to prevent them from thrill seeking. We also have a thrill seeker, but we don't have a. So this might be like a loot deck. Our opponent could be a loot deck. It's not a conspiracy theory or tinfoil hat to assume that corporations like Disney will just buy Hasbro extra to make their cards to utilize their IP relatively stronger because it makes people like their IP more in a nebulous way. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's just a process of capitalism functioning normally, corrupting everything. I actually mostly agree with that. Yeah, I mean, it's a really good point that there are other considerations beyond just gameplay when it comes to stuff like this. That is very true. And I could see that. Like, I'm pretty sure if someone went to Wizards or Hasbro and was like, "Hey, we'll give you an extra $100 million if you, make whatever Mickey Mouse really good," that money is going in the coffers, right? Like, so I think that's probably true. I wonder how Garfield feels about how the game he conceived incorporating so many other IPs into the game. I'm actually curious about that too. I actually don't know if he would care. How do we get out of this? So we can go to combat. Hit ya. All of their stuff being Voldaren Thrill Seekers is a concern, though. Opponent goes to 10. We gotta survive this turn and then kill our opponent next turn? So the Ooze can handle future Soul Cauldron activations. This acts for 7. Yeah, Soul Cauldron with a Thrill Seeker is very scary. Very, very, very scary. Yeah, how does he feel about Mondays? But yeah, I don't know. It seems like from what I have read and learned about Richard Garfield's original intention for Magic, what he envisioned is nothing like what Magic is today. Like, Garfield envisioned kind of like this free-flowing game where people owned relatively, like, cards would always be moving around. Some people wouldn't even know what a Black Lotus was because they never seen one before. So I actually think there's an argument that where Magic is headed with stuff like Universes Beyond and Commander actually puts the game more in line with what Garfield actually did kind of envision in the game 30 years ago. Because what I know he didn't envision was like $1,500 competitive Modern decks that everyone just plays the same deck because it's the best deck in the format. Like, from what I've heard about Garfield, that does not sound like what he would have envisioned the game being. So I actually think some of the stuff might actually be pushing it more in that direction. Yeah, the Deckmasters thing is a good point. I think part of the reason that it was such a hard switch to Universes Beyond is actually mostly messaging from Wizards, I think, where like you had like Mark Rosewater just saying again and again, no, we're never going to do that. We'll never do that. We never are going to do other IPs. No, we'll never do that. Like, we had stuff like that, right? And I think that... So let's exile a card so we can make a green mana. We are going to stop this Thrill Seeker. Ooze again. Get rid of the Thrill Seeker. Gain a life. Mill a card. Please a creature, maybe. Land. Mill a card. Creatures. We really need to mill. Okay, Gorehound is a creature at least. Untap. Ooh, Tyvar. Tyvar's good. Tyvar's actually insanely good. Well, let's play a Tyvar. With double roots and all these plans, Tyvar's actually maybe game winning. Let's mill with Tyvar. Get back the Gorehound. Make some plant. This is where the deck gets kind of out of control. Make some plans. Mill the Llanowar. Do a little surveilling. Oh, mill the Ketramose. We gotta mill it. We're gonna be milling a lot this turn. Mill the Ketramose. Rubble Belt. Counter on, I guess, a plant. Make a couple more plants. We just gotta get something to 10 power, right? If we get something to 10 power, we can just win with this Thrill Seeker, and we're very, very close. Mill the Llanowar. 9 power. Exile a creature from the graveyard, make a little red mana. Make some more plants, gain some more life. I think we got him. Opponent sees the red mana, knows what's happening, scoops it up, and Roots might just be busted. Roots might actually just kind of be busted. We don't have Graveyard 8, but we got a lot of ways to blow up our opponent's Soul Cauldrons, which is kind of huge. I feel like if we can keep their Soul Cauldrons off the battlefield, it should be hard for them to do a ton. We do have to trim a lot, though, to make this work. Maybe we go down a Tyvar and an Ooze? Actually, Ooze is great. Let's go, I guess, Llanowars. Run it like that. I mean, one thing we've seen with Universes Beyond is I think the advertising plays a role in it. If you look at the release schedules of Universes Beyond stuff, typically there's something happening, right? Like, we haven't seen too many Universes Beyonds that are not in some way connected to the other IP releasing something or having something go on with their IP. So I feel like there is an element, like that's one of the upsides to the other company allowing Wizards to use their IP, right? One of the upsides for them is they get promotion on their new season or their new movie or their new whatever game. So I do think that plays into what Universes Beyonds are made and when they're released for sure. Oh, Head Shredder is wild. Yeah, we've definitely done against Oz Head Shredder, and it's really sweet when it pops off. Let's just, I think, we might as well Dredger's Insight here. Get the graveyard a little full. Oh, there goes our Roots. Das Roots. Let's take a Mold Tender. Gain a life. Final Fantasy's coming. It's coming. We're like 5 minutes away. Can we win this game before Final Fantasy? That's the real question. Hopefully, and then we'd be actually technically undefeated with this deck, which is crazy. Oh, chat, I have a problem for you to solve. I've been thinking about this lately. So the commander bracket thing, we talked about it before, but the commander bracket thing, if you look at the commander brackets, green got off super light. Like, green has, wow, it's actually an insanely good draw. Let's Insidious Roots. Let's play a land. Let's Molt Tender. Exile a Frillback from the graveyard. Oh, this is so good. Make a plant. Soul Cauldron. And, yeah, your go, opponent. Your go. It's just a beta. Calm down, Seth. Actually, because it being just a beta is why we need to talk about it now, because this is when things can actually be changed. So my question for you is, I think green got off really easy. If you agree with that, the green got off pretty easy, what green cards could we add to the game changer list to kind of solve that problem? I'm very curious, because I feel like the reason green is so good in Commander is primarily ramp. But you can't really get rid of there's no realistic way to get rid of the ramp, right? If you, let's say, ban Nature's Lore, then you play Farseek. If you ban Farseek, then you play Rampant Growth. If you ban Rampant Growth, you play Secure Tribe Elder. There's no way to realistically do that. So I think you gotta go on in other directions. Craterhoof makes sense. The reason against that I've heard, and it also makes some amount of sense, is, well, it's not technically a game changer because it's a game ender. At the same time, though, Thassa's Oracle is on the list for blue, and Thassa's Oracle isn't a game changer. It's the same thing as Craterhoof, right? It's a game ender, where when you play it, you're planning on winning the game on the spot. So I feel like it would be fine. I do think the easiest one are the tutors. Like, I feel like with there being such a big thing about tutors, in the announcement, ooh, another Dredger's Insight. With that being such a big topic, we're gonna sack this, and we're gonna blow up this Grease Wrench Goblin, and then we will, I guess, just go to combat, hit ya, Molt Tender, get down the second Molt Tender. And Pestered. But I think Natural Order, Worldly Tutor, with the big focus on tutors, I feel like those are the most obvious ones where those should definitely go. And then I think you could have a conversation about Food Chain, the Great Henge. Yeah, I think something like that. And I would also just say, Wizards actually explicitly said in the article, like, this is a beta. If you have feedback, give us feedback. So I would say, if you have opinions and suggestions for this list, I would put them out there now, because once they finalize it in April, it's going to be a lot harder to make changes. Well, Dredger's Insight, do a little milling, snag a Haywire Might, I guess, and then Agatha's Soul Cauldron. What do we have in our graveyard? Frillback. All right, let's just get the Frillback. Exile the Frillback. Counter on the Molt Tender. Make some plants. We can't quite win. Now go to combat. Attack. Yeah, we'll just stack with those two. Hilariously, all of our things are Grease Wrench Goblins now, too. So we can actually do the exhaust thing. Because Soul Cauldron also fixes our mana for abilities. So we do the exhaust thing, discard a couple lands, draw a couple new cards. Oh, wow. Wow. Tyvar 2. Well, opponent goes to 6, and things are looking up. Let's... Actually, we don't even play that. Let's just pass. All right, opponent, kill us if you can. Magic Stream's about to start. Good news is we're about to win this game, I think, and then we can jump over. First look at Final Fantasy. An opponent scoops it up, and I think it's spoiler time. I think it might be spoiler time. Before we get into it, though, ooh, achievement. We got the count on it achievement. Before we jump into it, I should say, if you're looking for something to play in Standard, early results with Ketramose Roots is the deck feels really, really good now. The inclusion of Dredger's Insight, Molt Tender, and also to a lesser extent Ketramose really, really changes the deck. The deck is way better than it was in the past. So yes, if you're looking for a different Standard deck, I would definitely recommend Dust Roots. And let's learn about Final Fantasy, I guess. I'm excited to see the new cards. I just wish I wouldn't see the Pixie Otter Bounce deck every time in Ranked. Yeah, we'll see. So there's a Pro Tour this weekend. And I think if we see a huge performance from the bounce decks, then we might see some sort of bannings or changes. Hey, Gavin. Okay, Blake Scale.
This is Weekly MTG.
Okay.
And
the pen behind the ear.
Our first look.
I don't know. That might be like a B plus Blake. B plus today maybe.
But I'm gonna mostly stay.
Ketramose has been taking off in Modern.
As excited.
How is the volume?
And we know
they probably got to get louder, right?
These two gentlemen to my left are probably more excited.
How about that?
They have been chomping
Are we more balanced now?
For so long.
Yeah, I'm excited for this set too because other people are.
Let's hear from you guys.
Well, everybody, it's time. Welcome to Final Fantasy meets Magic the Gathering. This has been years and years and years in the making. I think
Gavin.
we started working on the set in 2021, and we started talking about it even before that.
2021.
We've put so much time and energy and love into this, and I can't.
That means that they knew about Universes Beyond way
I've
before
had the
we
chance
did.
to work on this set for 4 years.
I think there's a higher.
It's been a dream
theory
come
on
true
this
for
set.
myself and many other people in the building.
I think
the
this set
passion,
might be
the energy, the excitement
more busted
from,
than we think.
Our game design team, our
because
art director
I don't think
team,
they knew it was going to be a
everyone
standard
that's touched the
set when
product
they
in
first
any
were
way,
making
has just been
so we
an
might see some
amazing
stuff
journey
that
the
was
last 4
pushed for
years.
Modern.
Even to the
Maybe it
extent
doesn't get
of, like,
rebalanced for standard all the way. So I could see some really busted stuff maybe slipping through because of that.
Like, what are we doing? So everyone, like the passion and excitement from everyone here at Wizards has been so palpable for so long. So I'm so excited to share it with everyone.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been a Final Fantasy player for almost my whole life. Like the first game I ever bought.
What does Gavin not love?
Final Fantasy 1.
Final
Like,
Fantasy
really
player, Doctor Who,
and now to actually get to work on the set is incredible, and also get to work with Square Enix was unbelievable.
What is this shirt? What are little emotes on
that I love so much? And we worked hand in hand. It was really an authentic collaboration. Like we went over there many times. We play tested with them. We showed them the cards. We saw
I'm pretty sure they were selling that like Las Vegas,
cards
maybe.
that we had made. It was an incredible experience.
Oh,
and
Karen Mogg,
it's really
okay.
something special. For me, it is the most special Magic set I have ever worked on, and it really means a lot to me.
Yeah, absolutely. We're quickly here just going to show a video for fans who may have missed some of the announcements from yesterday. There was an article that went live talking about
here comes the
decks that
commander
were released,
cards.
which is very exciting, as well as the announcement of Yoshitaka Amano being involved creatively with the project, which we're
Who is
very
Yoshitaka
excited
Amano?
about.
We knew we had to do that.
Yeah,
right?
Who is Yoshi? Like
Yeah,
Yoshimano
so
Takara.
we're
Who
gonna
is
do a
that?
little video here in a second. It's
Is he
run you
someone
through a
who
ton
like
of cards.
made
You see a ton of
Final
cards in a very short amount of
Fantasy,
time.
or just like
Stay
an
tuned.
artist?
Don't go anywhere. We're gonna come right
Yoshihiro
back and
Amano?
talk about all the cards. You're gonna have some questions.
Oh, he's the
I'm
main.
sure.
Okay,
Well,
main
we have
artist from
answers.
Final
So,
Fantasy.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
that's
show you
pretty
the video,
sweet.
and everybody, welcome to Magic the Gathering, Final Fantasy.
All right, here we go. Wow, look at the got the pose.
Welcome to the first look at Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy. The legends from 16 games are represented in this set, which includes 4 commander decks.
Yeah.
Featured in the 4 decks are Terra, Herald of Hope from Final
Terra's
Fantasy
pretty
VI, Cloud, Ex-Soldier from Final Fantasy VII, Tidus, Yuna's Guardian from Final Fantasy X, and Y'shtola, Knights Blessed from Final Fantasy XIV.
Which one's best? Which is the best game?
Which card will command your deck?
Oh, it's the Liliana Dreadhorde Generals.
In this set, you'll find the boss monsters you love from Final Fantasy, like on this Jumbo Cactuar card. and the Sin Spira's punishment card. And the whimsy of Final Fantasy is here too. Check out these Tonberry, Stiltskin Moogle Merchant,
wait, these cards might actually be good.
and Saz's Chocobo cards.
Chocobo.
Double
Wait,
face
this set might
cards
be
show
actually
character
insane. Do you see
progression
that
or
get
different
9
forms
plus
of the same
99,
creature.
999 or whatever?
For example, Garland, Knight of Cornelia, becomes Chaos the Endless with matched increase to power and
Oh,
toughness.
that's kind of a cool design.
Cecil Dark Knight
Cecil
and
Dark-
Cecil Redeemed Paladin
They go so
reflect
fast.
Cecil's journey in Final Fantasy IV.
Wait, it's a one-man.
This
oh,
Emmett Selk Unsundered card becomes Hades, Sorcerer of Eld, when turned to its opposite side. With
Oh,
side
wait.
quests
Oh,
Catch a Fish, you can go fishing, then turn the card over and cook the fish with Cooking Campsite to produce a food token card.
Oh, this set's gonna be insane.
New in
Oh,
this
this
set
set's-
are summons, shown here on this Shiva card. Summons are saga creatures that combine features of a saga and a creature, so you can go through the
It's a
steps of the
saga
saga and
creature.
attack or defend at the same time.
No. Oh my God. This
The
set's
Final
so
Fantasy
insane.
Through the Ages bonus sheet
Wow.
features well-known art from Final Fantasy's history. Dragon at Mount Gulk
Angie Copper
features
Dragon
art by
back.
Yoshitaka
Look at
Amano.
how beautiful
And
that
Yuffie
looks.
Kisaragi shows art
Ooh,
from
Yuriko
Tetsuya
back, too.
Nomura.
Oh,
You'll
this set's
find
gonna
these
be
favorites
this
and
set's
more you
gonna be
love from
so
Final
huge.
Fantasy 1 through Final Fantasy 16.
It is a little too fast.
Sephiroth
They can
Planet's
slow down
Heir
a little
and
bit.
Cloud Planet's Champion cards face off and ready to play decks from the starter kit. Check them out.
These cards look powerful.
All of
and
this
interesting.
and more in Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy.
Man. Oh, this set's gonna be so good. Wow.
Available June 13th. Shape your
I don't
magic
even know
story.
like to lower the flavor, but just those cards look very, very interesting and powerful.
And welcome back.
Oh, my
We
goodness.
packed a lot of
Wow,
hype
what a
to a
set.
really short amount of time.
Yeah, too short of a
And
time.
so we are going to spend the rest of this show, well, I mean, these guys are going to be gushing for quite a bit of it, but also talking about behind the scenes, how these cards came to be, new treatments, art
Bring back the
styles,
cards,
just
Blake.
everything. We are going to unpack everything you just
I gotta read the
saw
cards. I
over
feel like
the
some of
next
those cards
hour.
are actually really good, but
and
they went by
we're
so
gonna
fast.
Start by first.
Saga
they were
creatures are so
excited. They didn't
cool.
even give their names when we started. So let's
It's
start.
Final Fantasy Day. It's
It's
Final
Final
Fantasy Day.
Fantasy Day,
I'm so excited.
People are so hard.
So before we dive into everything, who are you and what did you do on the set?
Hey, I'm Gavin Verhey. I was the lead set designer.
I wonder if I can pull up any of those
on
spoilers
Magic the
anywhere
Gathering Final
yet.
Fantasy, which is
I
a
wanna look
huge
at the
honor.
cards again.
Really amazing to work on it. I also want to give a huge shout out to the rest of the design team, Daniel Holt, who led the Commander decks, not on the stream today, and Yanni Skolnick, who led Vision Design. Of course, it was a huge effort across the whole company, but from the design side of things, these folks are the ones that really
All right,
drove the whole
let's
thing
see.
forward and made something incredible.
Awesome.
So
I'm
sidecast,
Zakiel Gordon.
Catch
I
a
was the
fish.
executive producer of the set.
3-mana
doing
enchantment.
everything from
At the
product
beginning of your
design
upkeep, look at the
to,
top card of your library. If it's an
working
artifact or
with all the
creature, you
teams
reveal and put it in
involved.
your hand.
Obviously the
So,
design team,
like
also
half of
creative
Phyrexian
team, shout out
Arena.
to Dylan
If you
Devney,
put a card
the
in your
creative
hand
lead
this
for the
way,
set,
create
who,
a food token
did an
and
amazing job.
transform
So
this
I've been involved
enchantment
with the project
into
for 4 years now.
Cooking Campsite.
It's wild.
Oh,
I can't believe
All
it's
4
here.
years are trying to.
Yeah, I just can't.
Feel right now.
Second artifact.
I'm freaking out.
And
Oh,
we're
that card's
both
very,
also
very
like
good.
lifelong Final Fantasy players.
Yeah.
That's a
I said
very
Final
good
Fantasy
commander
was the first game I ever
card.
purchased. I've even playing a
Final
super long
Fantasy
time.
7 and 10
I don't know if
are
that's a
not just my
standard
favorite Final
card.
Fantasies. Final Fantasy 10 may
I mean, that's
legitimately
like
be
3
my
mana
favorite
just
video
ramp, right?
So
like,
it-
hit an artifact or creature,
good.
flip it into a land.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about all that goodness.
card's
So
very
everything
good
you
in
just
Commander.
saw, we're going to go over it. So if you didn't quite pause the screen on what you wanted
Yeah,
to
so we
see,
can tell there
we're
are
coming back
Commander
to all of it.
precons. If you look,
let's start by just talking about
if
the
it says
set
FIN
as
at
a
the bottom,
whole.
that's
You know,
Final
this is a big
Fantasy.
deal. This is our first,
And then I think it's
standard University Beyond
FIC
set. There's a
for
lot
Commander.
going on here. Tell us about
So
the set
that's
as a
how
whole.
you can tell the
Yeah,
difference.
so Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy
Legality,
is a
all
full 10-fold
formats.
booster release that's legal in all formats coming out in June. The
Yeah.
set celebrates all 16 mainline games. So if you're a fan of some of the earlier pixel era content, there's absolutely going to be stuff for you. If you're a fan of some of the more modern
Unsundered. 3-mana
titles
2/4.
like FF16, 15, or
Elder
some of the
Wizard,
MMORPGs and
Vigilance.
those are also included in the set. Many of our team
What is this set symbol?
members have
FC
expertise throughout the history of Final Fantasy.
Whenever
So
it enters or
there were
attacks,
people who
draw a card, then
were
discard a
super
card. You have to
passionate
keep
about
14 or more cards in
making
your
sure we
graveyard,
got Final
transform it
Fantasy
into a
V
6/6
correct and Final Fantasy
vigilance.
III correct, and
During your
the
turn, you
Final Fantasy
play
14
cards from
experience
your
and how that differs between the other titles. So we went super,
If a card or
super
token you
deep
put your
to
oh
make
my
sure that we
god.
accurately represented each of the
Oh, it's a
the,
crystal, that's what that
mainline
is.
games in this.
This
And
card's
as part of
insane,
that,
right?
this is one of the
Is this card not
largest, or biggest
insane?
design challenges I think we've probably ever had for Magic and for Universes Beyond. So as a kind of
Like it's fine on the front
limitation for the
side.
set,
It has an
the-
ETB trigger.
The main set,
and then if you
specifically
flip it,
is
it's
limited
ridiculous.
to all 16 mainline titles. So for example, Final Fantasy X.
So you're going
is in
through
the
all
set.
the
Final Fantasy
games.
X unfortunately did not make it.
I want to see this
that
one
was
too.
a
Diesel Dark Knight.
Wait, you said Final Fantasy
1
X
mana,
and then Final
2,
Fantasy
3
Oh, sorry,
death
Final
touch.
Fantasy X, Final Fantasy X-2.
Whenever it deals
The
damage, you
sequel
lose that
and
much life.
spin-offs
Then if your
are
life total is less than
unfortunately
half
not in.
of,
That is
or equal to half
just
your starting life
entirely,
total, untap and
due to the
transform
sheer
it.
scale
4/4
of content.
life
We
link.
really could have made
When it attacks other
multiple different sets, but in order for us to get this correct
Cool.
and to make sure that we really accurately represented specifically many
Wait,
of the
is that
earlier
a
games and
staple?
the breadth of the entire mainline series,
No, that card's- Wait,
we imposed that design
Wait.
limitation. So that's what the shape of the content for the set
is this
And
not?
there's no shortage of stuff to put
Is
in
this
there.
not like a
And
staple
absolutely.
constructed
I really want to go back and
card?
stress how important it was to get
I mean,
all
people
those
play
mainline
1 mana,
games
1/1 death
represented.
touchers.
As
This
a
is a
designer,
1 mana,
I almost saw it as,
2/3 death
I had my
toucher.
roster of people, and I was like, okay,
Like, yeah, you
I'm
lose
making
some
cards
life,
for Final Fantasy
but-
3. I know who the fans for Final Fantasy 3 is in the office. I'm going to go
Oh,
talk to
that
them
shadow?
and
That
chat
shadow
with them.
card?
And because a lot
Maybe
of
the
people
last
played
ride
some
will
Final
work with
Fantasy
that. Maybe we
games,
can actually
but
build a
very
last
few
ride
people
deck in
played every
Standard.
single Final Fantasy game.
Where's the one that
having
gains
those
1,000
super fans
life?
were for each game in the office was really critical, and it really made it feel like a huge office endeavor, right? We all worked together, like so many people. This,
Oh, here
this
it
thing
is,
wasn't
I
just a
think.
small design team. This was so many people over the past several years
Oh, no.
contributing ideas and chipping in
Shaz
play testing,
Chocobo.
like
Oh,
to
it is
bring this
it
to
is
life
a
and bring
chicken.
that passion
1
and
mana, 0/1
music
landfall.
into the set.
Put a counter on it. Okay, fine uncommon.
Let's talk a little bit about the product lineup, Zakil.
Oh, I still don't-
There we go. Tell us what we can expect here.
Yep. So once again, this is a full tentpole release, which includes an entire
here it is.
300 plus card standard set.
It's like a gingerbread
that-
man.
Those are available
Jumbo
in play boosters
Cactusar,
and collector
Cactar.
boosters, as well as
7
a
mana,
standard offering, a
1/7.
bundle, and a gift
10,000
bundle.
needles. Whenever this
And then
creature
alongside
attacks,
the main set,
it
we
gets
also
plus
have
9,
a commander deck release, which
9,
has 4
0
commander decks
intelligence.
themed around.
What is the
individual
flavor of
games,
this, chat?
with
Why do we have a
the
1,000
collector
power
versions of those decks
creature?
also available?
I mean,
For new
that
players,
is
we
literally
also have a
one
starter
shot.
kit that is
One shot kill no
100%
matter what.
standard
It's
legal, so if
one
you're
of the
learning
most
to play Magic and this may be your
ridiculous
first
fling
introduction to
targets,
Magic,
but you
can
do have to
pick that
attack
up,
with it first.
Battle
The
with your
showcase
friends,
looks cool.
And then upgrade your deck and take it to your local game store and have a good time.
Oh, max
And then, of
damage
course,
999.
As always, we have a dedicated pre-release kit for the launch of
See, that's what I get for not playing the game. I might have to
June.
learn Final Fantasy real quick. Obviously
Now,
not a competitive
let's
standard
talk
card or
about
whatever, but
All right,
seems
fine.
like
We
Seems like a
didn't
sweet
give
design.
chat enough time to properly freak out about each card before we went to the next one. So we're going to spend some time freaking out about these cards.
All right, freak us out.
Zakil and
Freak
Gavin
us out,
have
Blake.
already been doing
Let's
so.
see
and
'em.
We're going to continue doing so. So let's take a look at our first card and our first Chocobo.
Chocobo.
Saz's Chocobo.
Oh,
They're
wow,
finally
they're-
here.
Yeah, it's time.
We've
They're
made the
going
Chocobo
for like
card.
news,
So we have a
pointing
quick
out-
graphic here for fans who may not
Yeah.
be as familiar with
Pointing out
kind of
what
the
things actually
skeleton or
mean.
mechanical aspect of Magic cards.
Is this card good?
But as a quick kind of run through at the top.
So if you
of
play
every
this
Magic
in a
card, you
fetch
have the
land
name of
format,
the card, the mana value.
on
of what
turn
it
2, it's a
costs to
2/3
cast
with a
that
fetch
card,
land.
and as you go
Then a 4.
down towards the bottom of the card, your
maybe.
pipeline calling out
Maybe.
what the creature type or card
It's not
type,
bad.
and
For an
then
uncommon, it's not
the,
bad.
the creature type related to that, as well as the expansion symbol, which denotes rarity. Of course, rules text and flavor
It
text.
can't
which
start growing
Gavin will
turn
get into in a
1,
second.
right? Most, I mean, unless you have some
One
moxin or
very
something
special
crazy.
thing for this set that we've never
It
done
is kinda
before
cute.
is within the collector
It's like the set
information,
symbol.
on the bottom left, on every single card within Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy, whether it's main set or commander decks or promo cards or whatever, there is a game identifier. And it has the specific call out of which game that card is from. This
Oh.
is very useful if you may
So this
only be
is from
familiar with a
Final
couple different
Fantasy
games, and if you open
13?
a pack of cards, you can learn and kind of really
I guess that's actually
dive
kind
into the
of...
history of
That's
this
kinda
is
cool,
this
I guess,
character
that it
from
tells you
Final
what
Fantasy
game it's
4,
from.
Or you can see the evolution of many of the creatures of how the Chocobo design or the Chocobo model has evolved
Yeah, I don't think they've done that in the past.
Huge moment.
But I guess we've never had something exactly like Final Fantasy Universes Beyond.
Every single card in the entire set, both
this could be a Magic card, right? Like I know it's like a chicken or whatever, but like
anything related to Magic.
Flavor-wise. I don't know. Like compare this to any Magic set in the past 2 years.
Final Fantasy, but not all of them.
I think Final Fantasy actually fits pretty well.
Who's this? What game is this from? And I was like, oh, that's from Final Fantasy VIII. And then looked at another card and they're like,
oh,
okay, well, what
Deckless
is this from? Well, that's from Final Fantasy III. And we were looking at that and we're like, oh. Well, what if we just actually put that? It was actually Zakil's idea. What if we just put that on the card? And I love it. It's like you get to see the ones that you know and recognize, but also if you
is this card any
good? It tells you should go look a little deeper, right? You're like,
oh,
I want to go learn more about 8 or 3 or whatever the game might be.
7-mana Sultai, 7/7 Leviathan Avatar with flying.
I did see a good
when it
question
enters
in
or
chat
attacks,
on that.
exile a permanent card from your graveyard at random.
Correct.
Then create a tapped token that's a copy of that card.
Single card.
And now
if the exile card is a land,
I'll talk a bit about the card mechanics. It's
Ooh.
pretty exciting. So,
that's actually a super cool build around.
Chocobo, 1-mana Chocobo, really exciting. Little baby Chocobo, super
Oh,
adorable.
that seems like a super fun card.
Is that the Chocobos in the set have a bit of a landfall theme going on. So while this is the only Chocobo
why do Chocobos have landfall?
You can imagine what maybe some other Chocobos might end up.
Is this going to be the most? I would not be surprised. I'm pretty confident it's going to be the biggest set of the year, and I think there's a chance it beats Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, this little guy.
I think this might be the biggest Magic set of all time.
He grows up fast.
All right.
Actually, I actually think it will. I think it will be the biggest of all time. I think it beats Lord of the Rings, especially since it's in Standard now.
Yeah, so Tonberry was a design. It took us a while to get right. You know, I talked to a lot of
Salamander,
people.
He's got a big knife.
Seeing the set.
Salamander Horde.
And all that
1
kind of
mana,
stuff was in
2/1.
there.
Enters
came up
tapped
over
with
and
a
over and over
stun
again.
counter on it.
And one of the things I tried to do in the design of the set
during your turn,
was make sure that some of the really iconic stuff showed up at lower
during your turn,
rarity.
first strike
So
death
played all the Final Fantasy games.
It's essentially
as you're opening a booster pack,
unblockable.
You're likely to see some things that you recognize, right?
But it's going to take
Tonberry was
2
pretty
turns
iconic,
to
so I wanted to get
untap.
it in a common or uncommon. And we worked on the design for a while, and if you don't know the Tonberry, it's this character that has like this knife and will kind of kill you in one hit and like slowly follows you around. But
I feel like this. I feel like this is an example of what we were talking about. I feel like this card right here, Tonberry, this shows exactly what we were talking about with how much more effort goes into making a Universes Beyond card than a Magic card. Because this is a pretty complex card, and it's referencing a specific character, and this is a random throwaway uncommon, right? It's not like the mythic at the top of the set. You can tell someone spent hours and hours building that card. When I think a lot of commons are just super, super easy and fast.
So we tried to match existing creature types where we could, but with Moogles, what is it? It's a Moogle.
What is a Moogle?
That's what it is. So we added
it's just a Moogle.
The new creature type Moogle.
1/1/2.
Now, I'm a big lover of Final Fantasy IX. It's one of my favorite Final Fantasies.
Pay 2 tap at target. Opponent gains control of another target permanent you control.
If you do, they draw on the scale of what cards show up in the set.
Ooh, there's some combos for that in Standard. It's a harmless offering. Sadly, it has to lose summoning. Yeah, it's a pack combo style card.
That's where still.
Unfortunately, it's got to lose summoning
sickness.
sickness.
White donate effect. It's a little fresh. It's a little new. Hand them something.
Yeah, we
haven't
haven't seen white
really
donating.
Multiplayer, or I don't know. Maybe
and
Standard, you hand
they got
them
the extra toughness. That's how you know.
These kinds of things.
That's how you know it's a modern card.
He's
your
very
1-drops are
generous.
1/2s instead of 1/1s.
Zakil, we also
that's a good
kind of
Moogle.
our first booster fun here with those borderless woodblock cards. Tell us about those.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
fun.
So
ours just kind of like
as we were going
precious
through
and
development,
sweet.
one of the things that we worked on with Square Enix was trying to figure out what is the
great
cool,
Zedric
what are
card.
cool,
I don't
awesome
know.
collectible iterations.
So Standard, we
of,
definitely build combo decks.
many of these characters.
I will
What
say
can we
already,
really do
like 5
bring
cards into
set
this
to life?
set,
Feels
I love
authentic,
this set like
and the
5
Borderless
times as much
Woodblock
as
art
Ether
style
Drift.
is
And
one that we
I don't
did
even know
in
Final
Neo
Fantasy, but
Kamigawa
even
on
just
the
like
Mystical Lands that
the
were
card
very,
designs, the art,
successful
like
and people love them. And
I guess
so we
they
brought them
got
here kind of
me.
as a
I guess they got. I
nod
guess.
to the Japanese,
I guess I have reached the point
roots
where
of the Final
I'm a
Fantasy
Universes Beyond
series
believer
and,
because
just a beautiful art
give me
style that I think
Moogles
just really
unless
elevates all these cards.
unless Ether drifting. I guess.
Okay.
This set seems like it's going to be incredibly
now,
strong.
One of the
I think they won me over.
reactions I saw in chat is for our next card, and bigger is correct.
I believe this is the biggest
there
number ever in the text box.
Anywhere I can see every card revealed
This,
so far.
as someone who I play
let me
Final
see.
Fantasy VII and dabble in a couple
So
others, but I'm not
yes.
super familiar. This was the card.
We are adding them as they come up in
for Final Fantasy.
mtdpreviews.com over on the site. So if you want to see everything,
about this.
I don't know if
Well,
everything's
first of
been
all, I think one
uploaded
thing
yet,
I'll
but we're
say
in the
is,
process, and it looks like most of it's already been
several
uploaded.
years, every time there's like a new Reddit thread
This
or a
card's
new announcement on some
hilarious.
social media about talking about what they expect to see in the
I
set,
do-
was like,
I do
"Ooh,
love
what
this
do we get? What do
card.
we get? What do we get? And the Cactuar that gets plus 9999 has been, or plus 99 depending on which version they're talking about, has always been a thing people have suggested.
Yeah.
And so every time Zuko and I are like, we got him. We got him on this one. And this card's been there since almost the very beginning.
I don't even get the joke,
so
but it's so
deals,
sweet.
It deals a ton of extra damage. There's
So what can
10,000
we do with
needles,
this
the ability to
card?
jumbo Cactuar
Fling
here,
it,
this one
trample
plus
it.
9999 in the game.
It does
It's
need
such
to
a perfect
attack.
creative fit. And yeah, it is ridiculous. It will kill you in one hit. It does have player death touch. Yes, you can fling this at people. Yes, you can give it haste and go bananas. But I love that it really captures the game mechanic of Final Fantasy in a really straightforward way that you see it and you're like, I get it. I understand. And one of the fun things for
for the
me and others on the
41st
design
month.
team about
Welcome to the
working
visual.
with
Big
a
Soup Cheer for
game
you.
to make
Enjoyed our talk about
magic
EDH
style.
brackets on Twitter
There's
the other
already a lot
day.
of fun
New
game
cards look
mechanics
sweet.
just
Happy to be
translate
around
into
another
magic.
month. Well, thank
and
you.
this is
Kid
one to me
Doozy.
of like,
Definitely
yeah, what does it do?
appreciate
It
it.
deals
Thanks for the
10,000
chat
damage.
too.
There you go.
I guess here we go. That's what the card's gonna do here.
Blue green mill.
yeah.
There's got to be.
So
This card just makes me so happy.
Oh, it's so good.
There's got to be.
And
There's
you
gotta
know,
be some
yeah, it costs
synergies
7 mana,
here.
but you will kill
So
people.
this
with
one I
this,
don't
right?
think we're
Like,
playing
in our
standard.
commander play testing, you would like give this
I mean,
haste
for
turn
against
that
odds
comes
we
down,
could.
lightning
I think
greaves,
it's more of a
great,
commander card.
Friend of Jumbo Cactuar.
I guess this card's
Of course, fling it at
incredibly
people.
scary in Commander.
You know, you got to get it to attack, but you can make that happen, right? No
Like
problem.
in Commander, you just like haste this, Rogue's Passage it, and you can just one-shot anyone. That actually is very, like, if this is sitting on the battlefield, you're going to be really scared that it might be coming for you.
10,000 needles.
Rich Card's expertise, draw 10,000. You better have a laboratory maniac on the battlefield, but yeah,
throughout the set
yes.
convey a bit of extra flavor.
I mean, who
Right.
wouldn't
Or
want to draw
flavor
10,000
words, yeah.
cards? Hey, what's
Flavor
up,
words convey a bit
Labrador?
of
How are
extra
you?
flavor.
Fling
Because
is-
there's
Fling
some
is the
cool
easy
moves
way.
in Final Fantasy. We wanted to make sure that those
Yeah,
were written
escape
out somewhere,
tunnel.
because
I mean, it's
characters
just
have awesome
the problem in
abilities they use,
standard
so
is,
let's actually put
and
those
the
on
reason I
site.
think it's against odds card.
All right.
It's 7 mana,
Next
and it doesn't
up,
do anything
we've got
right away,
something a
which
bit more
I think that
serious.
just by itself
Let's
makes it
take
an
a
against
look at
odds card.
Sin
This card
as
intrigues me.
Punishment.
Yeah, totally. I mean, this is the big bad
So if you
from
can-
Final Fantasy X, depending on how you want to frame it, I suppose.
What's the best
but
Final
we want to
Fantasy
make sure
chat?
that all your favorite heroes,
Like, what's the
and
good one?
villains,
There's so many of
you know,
them.
big ones from all
Like,
the
are
main
there
villains
any that
represented
stand
here.
out as, like,
And Sin is, of
peak
course, no
Final
exception.
Fantasy?
Now,
Like,
I'm not
what
gonna
number?
spoil the story of Final Fantasy X in case you're not
'Cause
familiar.
I haven't played
but
Final
making a bunch
Fantasy.
of copies
1?
of things is certainly
No,
pretty
it can't be
resonant for
1.
what
I know
it's
7
doing
I've heard
here.
of a lot.
And I gotta say, man,
and I'm
that
not even a
Orvis
Final
Woodblock
Fantasy
version
person,
is
but I remember
awesome.
hearing about
It's
7.
gorgeous. They knocked it out of the park on these.
Absolutely.
6, 7, 8, 9.
And
What
so,
about
yeah,
the most
this is
recent
a really
ones?
fun, different take
Like,
on kind of a
what about, like,
graveyard commander.
13, 14?
You want to
Is
fill your graveyard with
Is it
lands,
IP
you
that's
can
still
bring a ton
going
of them
strong?
back.
Are like 14,
it's
13,
definitely a
or
haymaker
whatever the
for
most
7
recent
mana
ones?
on
Are
that
they still
Enters
considered to
Caster.
be very
And
good?
Ezekiel, we're going to keep gushing
So
over
kind of the
art
mid.
as-
I guess
as
that
we
makes
go
sense.
through
That's just
this,
like a
but can
TV
you
show,
talk
right?
a
Where
little bit
like
about the approach
oftentimes
overall,
the first couple
art
seasons
styles,
they're getting going, and the
what
last
you
couple
wanted to
seasons they
invoke.
mess up the
Yeah,
ending,
so
but the middle's
much
like
of
the
booster
best.
fun in the set is heavily influenced by various different Japanese art styles.
I really like
So it's kind
the
of a top-down
the showcase series. I don't
take
really
on
like
a lot of iconic
maybe
characters
it
and
is good
monsters,
for Final
creatures that we know
Fantasy.
people
I don't know,
love.
but I don't really like the
and
art of the
done in
main
a
set
slight-
version.
obviously
It just
different
looks
way from
weird to
Magic
me. I don't know the
house style.
characters,
So,
so
of
maybe
course,
if you know
see
Final Fantasy, you're like,
main
oh,
set
let's just
version
like it or
of,
something.
uh,
I really like
ship
the
going
showcase
into, or
art. I'm
battling
kind of
Sin with
meh
the city
on
top,
the main
but
set art
seeing the
there.
perspective of Sin kind
Yeah,
of
the
flying
woodblock art
through the
looks
sky,
sweet.
and this woodblock is absolutely amazing. So.
Yeah, and how
16 is good, but
how
it hasn't made
closely
the cultural
did,
impact as all
obviously
otherwise.
we
Okay, that
have
makes sense.
Our stable of artists, Square has theirs. How closely did we work with Square Enix on all of the art and the artists?
Yeah, so every single piece of art was reviewed by Square Enix. We worked very collaboratively throughout all of development. Talking about this is how we want to represent each game. This is the character list that we want to hit on.
mean-
and we would go back and forth. It was super collaborative. This
kind
is
of
a,
that's
this is
kind
a
of what we were
character that
talking about
wanna put
earlier.
at
How
high
that's
rarity,
kind of the
this will be
rumblings I'd
special.
heard that they were very
And
involved.
we may send them, maybe a list of
But
2 or 3, and
every
say, "These
single
2
piece of
are ones
art
that we
actually had to be
encourage you do
approved.
because of this reason, or we have a really awesome story, and maybe you can tie this into design, or maybe
So you
this
know it's going to be good,
specific
right? Like if
character
they
is very
signed off on
important to our brand,
every
we'd
single
like you
piece of art.
to do it this way or not. So many of the artists that have worked on Final Fantasy throughout their brand history were many of the people who are actually reviewing the artwork. And as we announced, again, Yoshitaka Amano and perhaps maybe a few other artists were also involved.
Yeah,
in
who is the
creation
person on the right?
of,
I'm not.
art pieces for the set.
I feel like I've
It's
seen
so
him
cool that
in
it's Square
a
Enix
stream
once again,
before,
right?
but
they're the people that help bring
I
this
know Blake, I
franchise
know
to life
Gavin.
and are still working on it now. And a lot of those folks are still there.
does have a good
we went
voice,
over
good
to
radio
Japan
voice.
to play with them. We got to meet people who worked on some of my favorite games from when I was a kid. You know,
Yeah.
it's so special. And of course, they've got some huge Magic fans there too, which is part of how we got to bring this to life.
Did we talk
the
about Jumbo?
producer on Square side.
Jumbo Cactar
so
is
the
absolutely
producer on Square side,
hilarious.
Soichi
That was
Ishikawa,
the
is
last
a
card that we
lifelong
talked
Magic
about
fan,
was Jumbo
and
Cactar.
There's like just a very special moment when we're
Card's so
talk to
cool.
them about
This-
creating something.
like, every
finally,
design they've shown
build
off is
this
super
file,
cool.
We fly over for this play test.
We haven't even talked
You know,
about.
we're very
What do you
excited,
think?
but of
This
course
was
you're a little
kind
little
of.
nervous of just like, oh, you know,
We kind of went
put
right
so much
past
work into
this.
What do you think?
Saga
and
Creatures.
they were just beaming as both as
Saga
Magic fans and Final
Creatures.
Fantasy fans, just really happy with the.
So it's a
the quality of
creature,
the designs and the
but it
quality of
still
the
works
set.
like a
So
saga,
it is
where after the
unlike
lore counters are gone, you
anything
got to get rid of it. So it's like
so
I
awesome.
remember
A
we have
saga
weekly call
mixed with,
them,
like, a
every
vanishing
week for
creature
years, where
almost.
We chat with these folks, and I remember my first.
So
time
this
I was on
one
the call,
seems limited focus, but
the
5
guy's
mana,
like,
4
hey,
5.
I played in 4 pre-releases.
First
last
2 lore
weekend. And I'm
counters.
like, oh,
Tap
okay.
it.
You mean business? Like, you were
Creature
really a
opponent
Magic
controls,
fan.
put a
All
sun
right,
counter on
awesome.
it. Last one, draw a
let's
card for each
talk,
tap
you know,
creature
and
your opponent
They saw all the
controls.
cards. They get feedback on some of the designs. It was really amazing. Really amazing.
I mean, that doesn't.
All
It's
right,
not
let's
constructed
get back
playable,
to
but
talking about
it's a
the
cool
cards.
idea.
In the video, we revealed
Why though?
4
Why?
double face cards. So let's take a look at
I
those.
think of sagas
and
as like telling
we'll
a
start
story.
with
Putting on
Garland.
creatures is unique.
And talk
Garland.
about tell us about how we landed on having double face cards in the set and what function they
2 mana,
serve.
3/2. When you cast
Yeah,
a non-creature
so
spell, surveil
when I think
1.
about
No one's per
Final
turn
Fantasy, one of the things that really
restriction.
pioneered
Pay
in
an
games is
infinite amount of
kind the
mana,
idea
which is
of,
actually
this isn't
7.
my final form, right? Someone
Return
who
from your graveyard to the
evolved or
battlefield
changed,
transformed is a
and the
5/5
heroes and
flyer that when it
villains,
dies goes to the bottom.
Both together go through lots of evolution.
Card seems
and we
fine.
thought, what better way to represent that than double-faced cards? You know, like that literally lets you show the evolution.
I
of
could
these
see a scene
characters.
playing
And
something
Garland,
like
from the
Rakdos
very
Lizards
first
if it
Final
had a
Fantasy game,
relevant
you
creature
see him
type,
very
but
early
the
on in
creature type
game,
might
you
kill
fight him,
it.
It's the first boss battle you have in the game, and then he comes back at the end as Chaos. I guess spoilers.
It's a
for Final
nice-
Fantasy 1. But
It's
that's
a
exactly
nice,
what happens here, right?
like,
He's a nice little creature
on-curve
that comes
to
down
drop that
early,
then
he
can
goes
be
away,
much better in the late
and then
game.
later on he comes back as Chaos.
Oh, this is
You'll see
Final
these
Fantasy
at,
1?
all throughout the set in all kinds of ways. Showing off,
Wow,
like I
we're
said,
going
heroes
way back.
and villains, and a couple other things I'll get to in a second. But heroes and villains are kind of the big tentpole for us here.
I mean, I love double face cards.
and then we see that expanded
They're
art,
one
of
of my
course.
favorite mechanics, so
Expanded
I'm
art's a
fine with more double
staple
face
of ours
cards,
in
even
collectible
though
boosters.
it is a lot
But
of
I'll call
reading
out, you do
sometimes.
that
But this one's
uncommon
pretty
here,
simple.
right?
Like
Gave it
this
to
is
the
a
legends
very
in the set, which is
clean,
pretty cool. So
a
if
very
there's
clean
uncommon legend
design.
you're excited about.
2
you
mana,
get that.
3/2, surveil when you
Very
cast
cool. Yeah,
something,
that is- I don't
pay a bunch of
know if
mana,
we've
it comes
ever
back
done that
transformed as a
I don't
almost
believe
vanilla
that.
creature.
Yeah.
Just let the legends of Final Fantasy shine a little bit. You know?
Yeah.
It's
What do you think of the
cool idea.
flavors so
Every
far?
character
Like,
is
as a
someone's
Final
favorite
Fantasy
character.
player, are you like,
That's
oh
the
yeah, that
message
actually is
throughout
just like
development,
Final
just
Fantasy
making sure
1?
that
That's
if you're a super fan of FF1.
Is it-
there's
is
an
it on
awesome cool
point?
card that you can collect and build a deck around.
Totally, like when reading all these threads, like you get all the.
Is it
characters
worth
you would
it playing the
expect every
first
time.
5
There's
games?
always like these notes about like what
I
about this
haven't played
character,
any
this
Final
side character, this side
Fantasies.
character, and really, you're absolutely right. Every character is someone's favorite character. So let's.
The
make them
flavor's
awesome
good?
for me in the set.
Yeah, at least a few people in
Us,
chat
that's gonna be
were pretty
so-
stoked
so
to,
huge.
just shout chaos.
You can do that too.
it got me excited.
All right,
just to see how hyped
let's
everyone
see our
is.
next double face card, Cecil.
Yeah,
See,
speaking
this card I think
of
is actually-
heroes and villains, Cecil is a character that
I feel like
I
this
was
card's
asked for
actually
very
insane.
early on when we announced the set. People have wanted this. Many people have guessed double face Cecil, which
It's
is
so
perfect
above
for
the
the character's
curve.
story. And we wanted to give him a really banging card. So yeah, a one
I feel
mana,
like this
2/3,
is like an
I don't see those
actual
stats
straight
every
up
day.
staple.
It eventually then transforms into a.
It does still
4/4
die to
life
cut
thinker.
down.
It's
It does
quite the
die to
deal. My
cut
idea for
down,
this, I
but,
was
I
actually
mean, it's a-
inspired by,
it's a
like,
one
Death
drop, it's a
Shadow
one
decks to
drop.
try and deal damage to themselves really quickly. So you can kind of bring your left field down fast and then flip it in an aggressive deck, or there's all
Watching
kinds of
us
fun ways you can
shuffle
do
and
this,
flip
which you play
cards
for
in
later if you
sleeves is
want to.
scary.
But it's a really cool way of showing off Cecil's story.
Well,
and,
I have some bad
a card from
news.
Final Fantasy IV, which is
I
a
have
favorite
some
among
bad-
many longtime Final Fantasy players.
I have some bad news for you.
Yeah, shout out to Dylan on
Okay.
our creative team who
See,
he was
look,
a Final Fantasy
I'm
IV
good at
expert.
shuffling.
I
Look
played
at
it a
that.
long time ago, but he
See, look.
loves Final Fantasy IV. So
Look
this
at
was
that-
the card I was like, we
look at
have
that
to get this
wonderful
one right. And I
shuffling.
would constantly go to Dylan and be like, how about this? How How about this? How about this? And eventually we got
see,
here. And
I'm-
it's such a perfect
I'm a
mirroring,
pro.
such a great mirroring.
Cecil's
and, pretty
actually
sweet
really
card.
good though.
Yeah. All right, and then
What deck
now
though?
the
So
extended we've
I
seen
think
the
you just play it as a
borderless
black
character
one
cards
drop.
heal.
Like
This is the first we're seeing.
I think
Yeah,
you just
so
play it as
as
like
I previously
black
mentioned, much of
aggro
the
threat.
overall collectible strategy.
I don't
or
think you got to build
collectible
around
kind
it.
of,
Like I don't know if it
booster
fits in
fund
self
design
bounce in
in the set is
specific,
heavily
but
inspired
something
by
like
Japanese culture. You saw the kind of
Bulgari,
traditional
Demir,
woodblock
especially if you have a more
Japanese
aggro
artwork on
bent.
cards
I just
City
feel
and
like
Stiltskin.
the stats are
Here
good,
is
and then
more of an
eventually it's just going to
anime-style
accidentally flip into a
artwork,
4/4 lifelinker with
done
upside.
on Cecil with the
I don't know,
game,
maybe
the game
maybe
title
the
in
fact.
Roman
So
numerals
it's worth
behind
pointing
your
out,
character.
which
So
makes
That's
it way
something
way
that,
better.
you know, when we showed
It's
it
whenever it
quickly earlier,
deals
it's
damage,
easy to miss,
not
but I think
whenever
that
it's
is a
dealt
really
damage.
cool
If you
feature
look
on
at like,
yeah. So
is it Mog
another
Fanatic?
very
No,
just awesome, beautiful art style.
Jackal Pup.
As well
If
as
you
the
look at something
extended
like
art here,
Jackal
so you can
Pup,
kind of pick which one you want.
which used to
I'm a
be
super fan of Final Fantasy IV.
I love that it really makes those characters stand out. And one thing I especially love about those early games is, look, I love a lot of the early Final Fantasy games. One was one of the first games I ever purchased, like I said. But it is pixels
If you look at like Jackal
the end of
Pup
the day, and you don't
in
get the
other
characters
similar
in those
cards,
high resolution as
they
you would here.
are
So
whenever
Magic lets
it's
you bring
dealt
all
damage,
this
it deals that
selection
much
to
damage
which
to
is
you.
cool. This is
Cards
a
like that are
collection
really
of
risky,
all the
right? Because
games
your
with
opponent
our
could cast
incredible
something that deals a ton of
artist
damage
pool,
on it,
drawing
or
these characters
block it with
and
something that
illustrating them
deals
and
a
bringing
ton of
them to life in ways
damage.
you've never
But the
seen
fact that
before.
it's damage
And so, like,
dealt,
yeah, I played Final
you're
Fantasy
really
IV.
only ever
I thought,
taking
look,
2
this
off of
awesome.
it, right?
This
You
is
hit
so
your
cool to
opponent,
see right here, you know?
you take 2, they take 2, and then eventually you get a 4/4.
Games bring that to
So I
life.
feel like that makes it way better. The set is standard legal, although there is Commander Precons attached to it. So
you mentioned
if you see a
villains a
card
few
pop up,
times.
just double check the
Let's
bottom
take a look
the bottom
at
left
our
that
next
it's
double-faced card.
FIN is main set.
Quite the story
This
here with
card, I think,
double-faced
is-
card.
Yeah, Emmett
is
Self.
wild.
I mean, this is.
I guess 14 cards in the graveyard is a
previously,
lot.
and people
That is a
flipped out
big
about
number.
It. Emmett Self is a super favorite character for Final Fantasy XIV. And Cameron
Oh,
Williams.
yeah, we're gonna
almost
be in the
said
most
this, like,
powerful
talk about how I
standard
have a
of all
person
time,
for
I
every game.
think.
Cameron Williams is a huge.
It's
Final
gonna
Fantasy
be.
14 fan.
Yeah.
So much so that the
I
only
mean, I'm
time I ever
kinda-
see
I'm
him
there- I
take
think
position
I'm there for
is
it. As
when, like,
long
the
as
new
it's
Final Fantasy
balanced,
14
I
raid
like
drops,
standard
right? He'll like
being
go and be like, sorry, I couldn't come to the
powerful
meetings.
and big.
I gotta
I'm
go
fine
Final
with it
Fantasy
being
14.
powerful, and I'm
He's
fine with it
super
being
into it, and
bigger.
he is
As long as it's
amazing at his job.
balanced. The
And,
risk is
So much
if
for the
one
set.
deck
He does such an
dominates
incredible job.
Incredible
with
job.
busted
And when it came to 14, he was
cards,
always
it's
my
harder
expert.
for
And he
other
had
decks
the
to
Emmett
be
right,
thrown that
absolutely.
deck, and then you're in the banning situation
So
if
we
that
made
happens
a
for
card.
too
This
long.
is a pretty
But as
awesome
long
card.
as it's
This is
balanced,
a
it seems
looter.
good.
Okay, it's pretty solid. That turns into Yawgmoth's
Yeah, if you aggro
Will
yourself
on the
nil,
back side.
you can definitely get it
I'll tell
flipped.
you, if you transform this, you are not going to lose.
Assuming
It's very
you
hard to
dodge
lose when you
graveyard
transform
hate.
this.
If
And
there's
in terms of getting
graveyard
14
hate,
cards in your
I mean-
graveyard, not that hard when you have a lot of self-mill stuff.
The
going on.
front
What's
side's
a pretty
not
specific number on
bad,
getting cards
right?
in your graveyard? Was that a tweak from design? Like, where did that come from?
Well, one thing in Final Fantasy XIV is they do a lot of calling out numbers of things that reference them. Final Fantasy has this across the board, and in 14 there's a lot of 14s.
So it's
we put 14
it's
on the
14
card, and I
cards
pulled
because
play
it's from
design, I
Final
pulled
Fantasy
counterplay design.
14.
If we gotta change the 14, I'll understand. But if it's
Oh,
if it's-
I'm
and if
too
you suggest
quiet
13
compared to
or
the other
15, you gotta have a
audio?
really good reason for changing away from 14, right? And eventually,
There-
it just
how
snapped the whole
about
way
that?
through as
Is that
14.
a little better?
We play tested it, and actually the feedback I got was weirdly it was about right. I guess it was right the whole time.
I mean, if you flip that, you should
I'm
win the
excited for you to play
game,
this
right?
card because it is, yeah. I mean, a bit of card selection, really strong, but also just slamming this late, flipping it on your upkeep, and turning it into Eternal Yawgmoth's Will. Is
Like, if you
the
actually-
magic card. So yeah, Emmett.
If
is
you
a
actually get the
powerful, and I love
backside
if
and
you
can
go
just
to the next
replay
slide
your
here.
entire
I
graveyard.
love the borderless character version here. You're just so
Yeah.
sassy. You get kind of the other side of
So
Emmett Self here.
sassy.
Yes, absolutely.
All the
As well
showcase
as that
treatments look
extended
good. So what
art,
is
like,
Emmett
I
Selk? Is
love
that an iconic character?
Part of it is you have the character focused shot on one side, and then more of the kind of environment and general storytelling of what exists within the main set artwork. So just absolutely incredible.
One thing that's really cool about having multiple treatments for a lot of these cards is that there are so many stories that a character will tell, and Emmett shows up, of course. in
6/6
14 again
Vigilance.
and
No,
again
I
and
mean,
again.
I think
So
that
seeing him in a couple
the power of the
different
card
moments,
is just like
places
being
is-
able to
is really
recast your
cool, and,
graveyard.
something that
I think
I'm
that's
so glad
like
you hear
that's the
about.
exciting ability
Yeah, one thing we
of the
haven't spent much
backside.
time on is
Being a
the
6/6 is
flavor
fine,
text,
but
I've seen some people in chat call the
flavor
text,
text.
in
What
really
will
good
become
ways.
of our
So,
triumphs?
someone
Our hopes.
remarked here, "Oh my
our-
God, the lore text
our
is the same thing he said when you
despair."
defeat it." So how much attention did the team pay to?
Wait, is that actually a
sort
line
of
from the
moment
game?
in the game to pull flavor text?
All of the attention.
Yeah, truly. The spreadsheets.
Yeah,
the spreadsheets.
this is 100% Dylan.
Well, the
Downey,
set
the
looks
creative
neat.
lead for the
Do you
set.
still like that it's coming to
Spent
standard? I
many long
love
hours
this
replaying
excitement for their
games,
universe
watching playthroughs
sets.
of games, looking through, the dialogue boxes and everything to really pull from,
So-
make the set feel authentic, and to really just.
Well,
deliver those
that's a
fan
tough
moments.
question.
So, like again, it was very important.
I
for us
think
to get
I'm
it
almost
right.
a
It was very
yes
important for
now.
Square Enix to get it right.
I think I'm almost a yes now because
And once again, everything was reviewed by Square and seen by Square, right? So sometimes they would have to suggest them back to us.
I don't know if I
Try
care.
this
Like,
thing out. So
if it was Magic
yeah,
of
and then
5
in
or
terms
10
of
years
some Final
ago,
Fantasy 14
like the
stuff,
traditional
and there's all kinds of
fantasy
famous quotes,
Innistrad,
and we wanted to
Zendikar,
make sure to get those
whatever,
on
era of
the site. So,
Magic.
of course, I can't tell you what they are.
It would
yet,
be
but
very,
us.
very
there are
weird
some
and
really
jarring.
iconic ones
But
in
in
there,
the
so you can take some guesses.
Murders
at
of
what those
Carla
might be,
Manor
but, yeah,
Ether
we got
Drift
some
Cowboy
guesses
Hat
for you.
era
so
of Magic.
The DFCs we've talked about so far have all been
I can't see a
characters
difference
who
flavor-wise. If
transform,
anything,
but
I
there's
feel like the
another
flavor of
type
this set is
of
actually
Yeah, so
better.
we know
It does
some
make me
sets,
sad that in
you
universe
do a lot of play tests,
sets
people are having fun with it. You get all the heroes,
or
all
not,
the
don't
villains,
seem to
these
get the
epic
same
battles,
love
which is
as
part of
Universes
Final
Beyond.
Fantasy,
That part does
but
make me
also it's
sad.
not
Like
the
if the
only part of
argument
Final
is
Fantasy.
they could have
Feedback I
poured
kept
the same
getting
amount of
was,
resources
okay,
into
I mean, I
making
love
the
this,
best
but
Return to
Final Fantasy,
Lorwyn
it's
of all
not
time
just
or
about
something.
battling, there's side quests to
Yeah,
go on,
I
and
probably
little
guess
mini
I
games,
would
we
probably
get that in
prefer
the set
that.
somehow.
But considering where
And
we're
I
at
haven't
right
double
now,
face cards already.
I feel like
So I was
having
like,
Final
what if
Fantasy
we
in
turn some of
Standard,
these
I would
mini
rather have
games
that than
into
another
double-face cards where you get the reward
random
at the
hat
end?
set
And
in
I
Standard.
love the idea, and it just stuck. Took a lot
And I
of work
feel like
iterating
Final
on them,
Fantasy
but
in
it turned out pretty
specific
cool.
just
So
fits
let's pull it up on the
really
screen
well.
here. Fishing side quest. Of course, there's a fishing mini game. Even in Magic the Gathering now, we got a fishing mini game. It's
I'm
actually a
pretty
good year
sure
for fishing
this-
mini games between this and I guess fishing rod in a.
There is, I don't know if you remember, there was a time during the top 5 esports era when they were running an MPL tournament, which was the big, we invested so much money into this Magic tournament to do this MPL thing, and we got beat on Twitch by Russian Fishing 3. There was some dude playing Russian Fishing 3 that had more Twitch viewers than our pro tours, and now it's immortalized forever by the side quest of catch a
Final
fish.
Fantasies, and it really shows like. Hey, this is a
I do
different
think this
game
card
than
is
the other ones,
actually a
and
banger,
this is
though.
a delicious
I feel
meal.
like this
Your
is
fish have
a card I will play in a high amount of Commander decks. You know me, in Commander, I'm a big believer in trying to ramp with lands if I can, rather than mana rocks. And I feel like this is perfect for white. Most white decks can have a lot of artifacts or creatures, so you're probably, almost 50% to flip it. So you play it by the next turn or the turn after, it flips into a land, and it's a land with upside. I feel like that's just a new, white ramp staple in Commander for me.
The Division design team came up with early, and I thought
Send
it was
upon the
absolutely
fish.
brilliant. And a
Oh,
huge
yeah, we have a lot of
direction
fishing. I might have to
take
make a
this
video
kind
on the history of
so summons,
of
if you're not
fishing in
familiar with
Magic.
Final Fantasy, are these characters
Losing to
that
Russian
you subject
fishing.
to the fight. They are really
Descend
powerful,
upon the
they do some cool
fishermen.
stuff, and then they kind of make a big move and go away. That's kind of their thing. Now, depending on the game, exactly how that would work might differ a little bit, but that's kind of the gist of summons. And how could we capture
Yeah, having
that
the game
on a
numbers
Magic
on there
card,
is
right? We tried
super
a lot of
cool.
things. I know they tried out mechanics like fading or vanishing, but that didn't quite feel right.
And it's going to
so
help
they
me too,
finally
because
hit
I
on
can look up the
something
game if I
that
want
was
to.
a perfect fit. So let's bring up Shiva here. So these are something we've never seen in Magic before, but are yet a
Saga
perfect blending, and that is
creatures.
enchantment creature sagas. So what they are,
It's a
they work
saga
exactly like how you would
elemental.
imagine a fusion of the two work. You play it, you do the first chapter right away. They can attack and block as normal.
I actually think
Then
those will be
each turn,
super
you go
fun
the
to play
next
with.
chapter, and after the third chapter, they go away. So you play Shiva here, you tap one of their creatures. The next turn,
That's
you
gonna be
tap
really-
another one of their
Saga's
creatures,
already so
and then on
cool.
the third turn,
The art on
you
the
will,
showcase
get to
looks
activate the
really
ultimate ability here,
good.
you diamond up,
This
you
art
draw
looks
cards
fine
all
too,
the
I
untapped
guess.
creatures,
You just don't get to
and
see
the
as
saga
much of
goes
it on
away.
the saga. You get
There's
such
lot
a
of
small
pretty
window for
fun
the art,
gameplay
but
intention here of like, okay, do I want to attack?
So I get to
Do I
attack
wanna
once.
block?
So you'd play
If I'm
this
the opponent,
on-
Do I want to spend a removal spell? on it? 'Cause
Yes.
it's gonna
So you
go
play
away
it
in
on
2
turn
turns
1.
anyway.
You play
Do
it
I
turn
want
1,
to
play
get their
defense.
effects? So
Turn
there's
2,
a
you
lot
can
of fun to
attack.
play.
Turn 3,
And I
being
also
pre
love,
combat main
couple cool
phase,
things
gonna
here.
sack. So
This
yeah,
is
you will get
first time you've
one
seen
attack
flavor
out of it
text on
essentially.
sagas. There's this text box here. on the bottom.
Although
We got flavor text
you
there.
get 0 attacks out of a
course,
typical saga.
This is the only one you're seeing today, but that might not be the only text that goes in that.
Yeah, we
place.
ran into this
and then also
with
first time we're doing, I think, borderless sagas. Isn't that right?
shrines.
Absolutely.
So
This is
saga
what,
is an
first
enchantment
time we've ever
type.
done borderless
So if you have
sagas,
something that cares
of
about
course, that
creature
woodblock art
types,
style is
saga
coming
is
back.
not going to work there.
One other thing I'll mention
Same,
is that
same as
of
like
all of the summons in
shrine
the
not
set, they
being
do
a creature
appear
type,
at all
even though
levels.
you make shrines
So
that are
summons are such a
creatures.
significant
Very,
portion,
very weird quirk, but
or play such a significant role in the DNA of Final Fantasy.
I mean, I don't think this card
card
in specific is busted,
mythic.
but I could
Yeah,
imagine.
absolutely.
I can imagine the fact
we
that-
talked earlier about how we wanted to make sure that at lower rarity.
The fact that they're temporary, letting wizards really push some of these cards. That's part of the upside of sagas, right? They're not going to sit around forever because they have this natural end date built into them. So I can imagine there being some really, really strong. You only get 1 attack, so you can put some crazy stats on these, I think, and get away with it.
And yeah, this is a really incredible new mechanic.
Who is
I cannot
Bahamut?
Wait for you to play with
Why?
it.
Why do people
It
keep
is,
talking about Bahamut? Or
It is so much fun to
Bahamut?
play with this new twist on things. And it's funny. We saw someone guess this last week week actually on social media, which was crazy. We've been looking at all the threads for ages. No one's ever come close on Saga creatures, and last week someone got it. So if you're that person, hats off to you. Well done.
All right, so Zakil, I want to give you a
Bahamut's
moment
a super
to
powerful
kind of build up
summon.
this next part.
Oh.
Through the Ages.
The God of Dragons?
is
It's got to be some
an
epic
aspect of
mythic
the set
then.
that I think is really special.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we were going through development of this set, so much of the creative concepting came from original source material artwork, right? If you're trying to bring Final Fantasy 1, 2, really all the way up to really the modern games from 1 to 10, you're looking at a lot of artwork, a lot of very prolific illustrations that have existed for 30 plus years. And of course, that artwork is very recognizable to the Final Fantasy artwork. It's also just amazing, beautiful fantasy illustrations. And about halfway through development, as we're kind of riffing off of, okay, this is the original image and this is what it'll look like in the Magic House art style, I look at Gavin, I look at Dylan Devaney and Daniel Holt, and we're just like, we should just put these on cards. Like, people would just love these. So,
are they
the
doing
Final
like
Fantasy
screen
Through
caps?
the Ages bonus sheet is a unique program launching with Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy that takes source material artwork from the original Final Fantasy games of the past 35 plus years.
Just like the Arcane
and places
Secret
them
Lair
on
drops.
reprints within the Magic universe. So here are two cards. The first one from Final Fantasy 1. This is artwork done by Yoshitaka Amano.
So this is actually
as
from the
dragon
game. The
of
artwork's from the game
Na'Gul,
itself.
As a reprint of Ancient Copper Dragon.
For some reason,
as
I
well
feel like
as Yuffie Kisarage,
Yuffie.
as Yuriko the
I feel like
Thousand
I've seen
Shadow
Yuffie
from
somewhere.
Final
That's got to be a
Fantasy
big
VII, which is
character
artwork
because
done
I
by
feel like I've seen that
Susumu
character
Nomura.
somewhere before, and I don't know any of them.
You can expect concept
So, yeah.
art and you can expect the Final Fantasy Through the Ages concept artwork to appear for each individual game from 1 to 16.
Mainline games, okay.
And of course, anytime we get to work again with Yoshitaka.
So I
Amano,
imagine this is
Susumu
like special
Nomura,
guests, right? Where these aren't going
it's
to change
absolutely
legality based on
I
this
will say
reprint,
that
but you're going to get.
This is kind of a.
I hope they're normal
the-
boosters. I hope it's not collector booster
Amano
only.
is
Yeah,
maybe
the Copper Dragon looks
associated with the set in multiple
amazing.
different ways, but it was nice to be able to pick up.
So
some of the original
FCA,
concept art
that's
and
Final
really bring it
Fantasy
to
Through
life
the
within
Ages.
Magic,
So this
and
is
perhaps,
going to be different than either one of the other ones. So you got FC,
and,
FCC for Commander, FCI, I believe, for Final Fantasy, and now FCA bonus
You can
sheet.
draft these unlimited, and it's pretty fun to get to throw
So
a
it's-
haymaker from the top rope down and be like,
It's
wow,
basically
you expect to
like
see,
Brothers
this
War
here, okay,
retro
or just
artifacts
get,
or something like
a
that.
ninjutsu
It's
or whatever,
it's
pretty
basically
cool.
like that.
So there's a lot of fun to
Strixhaven
be had with
Mystical
these cards,
Archives.
and they're just gorgeous.
But the
we
Final
actually
Fantasy
got
version.
the first ever packs in a couple weeks ago.
Oh, collector
and
are they
looked
up
through them.
now? I wonder how much they are
It's
selling
amazing
for.
game
They're going to be
us.
so
But we got to
expensive.
open some of these up and see what they look like, and they are incredible. And bring that concept art that is so beloved and the images that are so beloved from those games to life on a Magic card, it's just amazing. It is really amazing.
Yeah, and so just
Oh,
to
there's
make
a
sure,
Final
I've
Fantasy
seen-
card
I've
game?
seen some questions in chat, just to make sure we clarify. The bonus sheet is not legal in Standard, but will be in Play Boosters, and you can.
Oh, that's good at least. At least it's
They're
in Play
playing
Boosters.
collector boosters.
I didn't realize there was a Final Fantasy game. I don't see the boosters for sale yet, but
They are
apparently,
Yes.
apparently there's a Final
There's
Fantasy
some weird
game.
sideways decks.
Yeah, not until
Definitely
June. We still have a
I'll
few
tell you a
months to
story after
go.
this
We got to
comes
get
out
through
about it.
our
Really
Return to
spectacular
Concept
about
arc here
that.
first.
All right, now let's move into talking about Commander.
That is gonna be an
Commander designs
expensive
for
opening
Commander
video.
decks. You may have seen the article on IGN yesterday. I know a ton of people.
The Commanders, we
checked
saw the
that
Commanders.
out and looked at the 4 face cards. We're
I mean,
gonna
the Commanders look
talk a little
sweet.
bit more about those. So let's go deck by deck and talk about each of the decks. So here is Revival Trance. Tell us what we're doing here.
Yeah, so first of all, what I'll
Revival
kind of kick off with
Trance.
is we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do for the 4 decks for Final Fantasy.
It's got to
And,
be
you know,
hard
we
to
talked about a lot
narrow
of
it
different
down.
things, but
when
the thing
there's
that
so many
really
Final
struck us
Fantasy games.
was,
How do you choose
let's
which 4 to
them
do?
Based around different games. Like, let's pick a game and make a deck a pretty bespoke.
Do you
thing
sell the cards you
around
get in the
that
opening
game.
videos?
So we picked 4 games that we knew were
typically.
beloved.
I
Of
keep
course,
some
every
stuff
game
that I
is
need,
represented in the
but
main set, all the main
in
sets.
general,
But
in
Commander
general, I
picks 4
sell
games
it
to kind of
put
focus
towards
on.
the next
And
the next
one of my
video.
favorites, and a great one from the Pixel era, is Final Fantasy VI. And
But then I
Pixel
also need
era,
some
I
stuff for like
decked out.
Commander
Now, this
Clash
is a
and whatnot,
black,
so I
white,
snag
red,
them. Like,
kind of
so
graveyard
if you choose
deck.
it, 4
And
most popular.
specifically,
Do
I
you
thought
think
a cool
these
thing
are
Daniel
are
did
these
was
like the 4
this
most
focuses
popular
on kind of the
categories?
second part of the game, when you bring back your whole party, which really makes sense for the kind of graveyardy theme, and that's what Tara's doing here, right? She's trying to recruit.
I think Tara's
your
cool.
whole party. Now, if this is not the Terra you want to play with, don't worry. For these many of these characters, we have other versions in the main set for you. So there's
I
lots
figured
of-
there
lots
would
of
be
options,
multiple
but this is
Terras.
the one on the face of the Commander deck. and a pretty cool take.
The Terry,
on this,
yeah,
on
I think
this
it'll be a fun
character,
commander.
and a really unique way of
Kinda like
making
Mardu,
bring back the
Graveyard
and meld well with the story
shenanigans.
of Final Fantasy.
I think it'll be
bring
I think it'll
that
be
back from
popular.
the yard. And they also get these borderless character treatments, right, Ezekiel?
Yep. So each of the face commanders gets borderless character card treatments that are available in Collector Booster.
The
as well
borderless
as the
treatment
extended art,
looks fine.
Treatment as well.
Oh,
So very, very cool.
I actually kind of
Yeah, I
like.
wanna
Oh
linger
wait,
on
are those
something
Roman
here,
numerals
because
behind
I
it in
think
the
it's one of
art
the coolest
to
features of these commander
show what
decks
game it's from?
is,
No,
the main
that
set
can't be.
has, all 16 mainline games, but each commander deck draws from one game.
Oh.
Like you're playing just that one game,
Oh,
right?
okay.
above the land
Each
array, right? So
commander
land kinda
deck
grabbed a
is
mix of,
only
some
one
different
game.
games,
So
some
if
across the
you
deck, share
get
that one. But
if
it's
you
a
get the
spell,
Terror deck,
it is themed
it's
to that game, which is
all
really cool. Like,
6
we got
or
all of
whatever.
our work for these.
Oh,
They're
that's
all
actually-
set in the universe
that's
of
actually
that
super
game.
cool.
There's a ton of cool new cards.
I think
and
people
some
like
good
that.
reprints that have been refaced.
Because I heard some people are kind of like, oh,
Lots of
I was
fun to
hoping it'd
add
just be
there.
one
And it really,
game.
like,
There's
when
too
you look at
many
these
like
things,
whatever.
There's like bespoke representation.
So
of the
these
game,
commander
right? You look at it and it
precons
feels like you
will
were
be for
holding
people like
a
that.
bit
If
of
you
Final
just
Fantasy VI
want
story in
one
your
game to tell the story of.
It is not to get too romantic. It is very emotional to see many of these decks, specifically the Final Fantasy X-1 for me, just to relive.
What,
This team did such an amazing job just telling the story and reliving. the
Yeah,
stories
we
of
might
the
run into that where some are more popular than others.
from that game.
And once again, like
From all the games.
we all work really closely together on this. Where we're always talking about what we wanted to do and what games we wanted to represent. And in the case of
I can't believe
design,
they've been working on this
Daniel
since
Holt with the commander decks,
2021.
I love the main set.
That
We
means
work
they've been
really
working on
closely
this
to
for like
make
4
sure that,
years.
these characters are very popular.
It's gotta
We'll
be
make 4 main
tough.
set versions
It's
of
gotta
them
be
that are
tough
going
to
be your main set.
know.
You'll make 4 commander
Man,
versions of them. They're
I don't
gonna
know if
be
I'd be able to work
commander.
at
So,
WotC. I don't.
really great collaboration.
I don't know if I'd be able
with
to
us,
know
and,
what
I'm
was
really
coming up
happy with what
and
we
just
come up
keep it secret, not telling
now,
them for 5
when
years
these were
or 4
revealed
years.
Yesterday, we did get a lot of questions about MTG Arena. Now, typically, commander cards don't come to Arena, but Final Fantasy is a really special set. People are super stoked that it's going to be on Arena. Zakiel, I understand we did something a little different for
Are they putting it on Arena?
Commander and Arena this time.
Yep. So all 4 face commanders and the 4 backup commanders for each of the commander decks, so a total of 8 cards, will be available on Arena.
Okay.
You'll
Oh,
be able to
okay.
play those online. And
I
and have a great time.
mean, that's not like
that'd
groundbreaking,
be
right?
cool
They've done
to
that
take care
before,
Of
but
course, in addition to the whole main set, of course, will be in Arena as well.
Yep.
So you can
But,
go ahead and draft your heart's content, which I know I'm excited to do. So
even that's like, I'm glad they're doing it, but even that's like a little example of how how you get the special treatment, like if your universe is beyond set, because they don't put all the commander face cards on there from the
Power
normal
up to
sets.
7. It's got Cloud on the front. You know
2021,
him. You
yeah,
love
that
him.
was
It's Cloud
like
from Final Fantasy 7.
14
He's got
years
a huge
ago.
sword.
2021,
There are
boy.
also, as you might imagine, huge
Forever
swords in the
ago.
deck to put on. Put on.
I'm
your,
a commander client
creatures
they've talked
and try and get
about.
their
I think it's
powers all the way up
coming.
to 7, so you can hit that
Hopefully it's
threshold
good
level.
and not
So,
just making us
another
rebuy all
use
of our
the
cards
number
for a
7,
third
for
time. But yeah, they do
Madden.
need a
There's bit of
commander
that going
client.
throughout the set. Kind of my line on in both
Yeah,
commander and main
it's
set
hit or
was,
miss.
let's not
Some
do that if
sets
it's the
they
wrong
add face
design,
commanders.
but if it's
Other
the right design,
times they've
let's
said
do
like,
it
well,
where
we
it's
need to
right.
add
So
these
there's a bit
special
of that
guests, so
going
we
on,
put our
which is a
time
lot
into
of
that
fun.
instead.
And yeah,
So
it's
it depends on the
Final Fantasy
release.
VII
Some
Commander deck. It's cool.
occasionally
It's
they
amazing. It's
they
the
put them
bespoke
on
experience
and
you get holding
then,
your hand
but the
for
default
Final Fantasy
is
VII
is
Magic.
new.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what more I can say other than it's sick, and that borderless character card is a pretty cool version of Cloud too.
The borderless one does
Absolutely. We
actually look
previously
pretty
said
sweet.
this, but as a reminder, each of the deck does come in 2 versions. The regular
Oh,
commander
the
deck, which has 2
Extended
full
art is actually
face
zoomed
cards,
out, which is
as well as
weird.
the total 100 card deck.
I think a lot of
There's
times
collector
extended art's
commander,
zoomed
which is
in this
entirely
case.
an
With Cloud, it's
included
actually
search for
zoomed out a bit.
for people who like shiny.
Also, why isn't an
Wow, who went
ex-soldier
those
and a soldier? Is that not a favorite of Flavor Fail? Cloud ex-soldier, creature type, human soldier.
Obviously, it came up here with Cloud. Are we going to see main set versions of these characters as well?
I know.
Yeah,
I'll have to go
I'll
over
say
the
that
art with
all
Richard
4
on
face commanders
the
and
next
commander decks have
podcast
main set
because
versions.
he was waiting. He was waiting
One
for
of the cool
the.
things that we did
for the
with
special
commander decks is
treatments.
We were able to, because they're entirely bespoke representations of their decks, and the main set only has so many card slots. we were
Oh,
able to
soldiers
fill
and
some of the other
organists.
characters that didn't have room in the main set in
See,
commander
that's what I
decks.
get for
But the
not
face
knowing
characters
Final
absolutely. All the
Fantasy.
face
That makes
characters
way
you'll
more
find brings
sense.
up in the main set.
So they were.
if you
Cloud
want
was a
another version of
soldier
Cloud to play
for a
around with,
soldier.
Don't worry, I got one for you.
But now Cloud is just a soldier, not for soldier.
tell you
I
that now.
got it. We figured it out.
All right, let's hear about our next
Soldier,
deck,
not soldier.
Counter Blitz.
Ah.
Yeah, this is the Final Fantasy X commander deck, green, white, and blue, featuring
Tidus.
Tidus as the commander there.
Tidus.
And the thing I really love here is in Final Fantasy X, you have the sphere grid. If you've ever played that game, I know you might have spent many hours, I know I did, on the screen trying to make sure you can min-max all your abilities and how they work out. And it really kind of feels like you're moving counters around, and it's a very fun thing where we.
It's kind of interesting to hear the story behind the design.
Really nice mashup there, and so
what is Blitzball, chat?
Your abilities properly,
I don't even know what Blitzball
you get to
is.
enhance your characters the way you want to. So it's not only like a great.
Krim kept
flavor
saying
fit,
Blitzball during the podcast yesterday, and I was like,
what?
What is Blitz? Is that like a sport in Final Fantasy?
Screen Final Fantasy X. So it's a very cool.
It looks like Titus to me, but.
I do.
Oh,
have to
underwater
ask
soccer.
because
Okay.
Chat is all over this, and we've seen a lot of comments on social media. Blitzball, is it represented in the deck?
I will tell you that we know about Blitzball. We love Blitzball. There might be places where Blitzball appears. That is a side quest that was very popular. I mentioned those 5 side quests earlier. Well, who knows? Maybe Blitzball is one of them.
All right,
Blitzball
side quest.
I'm not going to tell you right now, but yeah, we know some of you just want to go play Blitzball all day, so we wanted to make sure that you would be able to represent that here. I know I spent way too long trying to win the Blitzball championship. Beating Sin, who cares? I got to win the league. So yeah, I feel that. I feel that, chat.
Zakil, anything to add about this of or Titus or Blitzball if you want?
Yeah, Final Fantasy X is my favorite deck. There's a lot of.
Aren't
nothing
talking
to
about the
add
restriction.
right now.
That was the
I think
only
it's a
thing I
little
really
bit
want to know
closer
about this
review.
card is whether
mechanically this deck
whether that
plays
restriction
so well, the team
it's
touch a great
gotta
job.
keep you to 1 proliferated turn.
I'll
It's
leave it at
got
that.
to.
Yeah, we'll for now we'll.
I think the card would just be
Like,
broken
You have
if
to
it
understand,
didn't.
chat. Me and Zakil could literally sit in a room and talk about these cards for like half a day, and I'm not exaggerating. Like we have stories for every single card. We are a tight knit crew that's worked on the design of these, so it has been pretty amazing.
And you'll probably
So
do
the
that
commander
once
decks are
everything
what?
comes
Yes,
out.
Six?
almost certainly.
Publish
6,
the
7, 10,
12-hour
14?
podcast.
Is that?
Yeah,
Are those the
extended
numbers?
cut.
All right.
I think those are the
We've got
numbers.
one more deck to talk about. Let's take a look.
6, 10,
at
and 14 for sure. I
Scions
think the other
and
one was 7.
Spellcraft.
Yeah, so
If
Final
it's
Fantasy 14,
missing
of
from a
course,
commander
bringing that to
deck,
life here
it'll
in this
definitely
deck.
be in the main set. And
this
even
is
if it's
something we
in a
haven't really
commander
spoken about,
set,
is an
it'll
S
probably
plus
still get
spell
another
filler
version
deck,
in the
one
main
you
set.
cast
So
big
just
spells to
because
try
you
and
don't see
extend
your
your
favorite thing
front
right
line, so
now,
really bigger than
doesn't
just
mean it's not
cantrips.
coming. I'm
And,
sure
just
it'll
a great
still be
fit for the
there.
character once again, right? You get to drain them for a little bit, and then once you cast spells, so fits Y'shtola.
I feel like this is actually like
Absolutely. One thing I'll just say about Final Fantasy XIV.
I feel like
we're
this is
very
a pretty
cautious-
strong
or Very
card.
conscientious of
The 3-mana value or
making
greater
sure that
restriction
the
still
gameplay
gives me a little
experience
bit of pause,
and,
but
kind of identity of Final Fantasy.
I feel like
14
just the static
specifically
ability
really
is kind of
shines through
wild.
this collaboration.
Beginning of each
A lot
end
of our team
step,
members,
if
again, you
a
mentioned
player
Cameron
lost 4 or more
earlier,
life this turn, you
we
draw a
have, like,
card.
an
I feel like if you
employee
play this in
Discord with
Commander,
FF14 players,
you're going to
like,
be
the FF14
drawing a lot
audience,
of
Hero
cards
Wizards
just from
really
other
loves,
people attacking each other,
FF14
just having this
put a
sit
lot of
out.
intentionality,
And then you also can
in
drain
this
as you
design.
cast
So,
spells. This has got to be the
if you're a fan
strongest of the
that,
face commanders.
If you're a massive fan of FF14, just trust us. We got some stuff cooking.
Yeah, and I think especially was interesting because it's such a massive game, and there isn't like necessarily one main
Yeah, I
hero,
don't
right,
see-
where you are the
I don't
hero,
see
that
any
it was
Final
a really
Fantasy
fun
stuff on-
design exercise to figure out where we wanted to pull
on
everything from.
Amazon.
And yeah, I can't wait to show you how we represented it all, but this deck is full of ways to show it off. So you'll get to see it all when the deck comes out.
All right, we've got about 10 minutes left. We've got one more thing to show.
Yeah, I don't see him. I don't see him
I
for
was
sale anywhere.
debating whether we do a Q&A because
All right, let's see it,
they
Blake.
have to be very tight-lipped right now. There's so much they want to say and so much they can't, and I'm afraid of opening that floodgate. But we're gonna do it. We're gonna give about maybe 5 minutes for a Q&A, which we'll do after we show this next thing. If you have a question,
All right,
it helps
something
me
big's
find
coming.
it. If you tag at
Something
Magic
big's coming.
first,
It's gotta
I
be
will
good.
ask the question. There is no guarantee we'll be able to answer it. Maybe they'll give wink, wink, nod, nod hints. I don't know. We'll find out. But we'll do a little Q&A, just a touch of Q&A. Before we do that, we had mentioned the starter kit earlier. Let's take a
starter
closer
kit.
look at the starter kit.
Maybe not as exciting as I thought.
So yeah,
It's another
this is the
cloud
starter
and
kit
whatever
for
this
Magic,
is.
Final
6 mana
Fantasy.
4/4
Very
vigilance.
obviously,
Whenever it
if you
enters,
pick
creature
two
your opponent
characters,
controls gets negative 2,
from the
negative 2 on the
franchise,
turn. Whenever creature your opponent
here.
controls dies, that's actually
Come on and learn how to play Magic.
that's
Except
actually
for
not
the
that
cloud.
bad.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a worse
One quick
massacre
note
worm,
before
I
we get into the
guess.
designs. The entire
5
starter
mana
kit,
4/4
again,
during your
is
turn,
standard
as long as
legal.
Cloud
So
is
if you're a new player
equipped,
coming
it has
into
double
Magic,
strike
you
and
can purchase this,
indestructible.
battle your
Equipped
friends,
abilities,
open
yeah,
up
they're
some
pretty
packs,
safe.
Upgrade your deck. And,
Yeah, they're
go to
not.
the local
I
game
will
store
say the
and
intro deck
start to
level
learn.
cards have definitely gotten
Yeah,
better.
and I'll say that
I remember like the
you know,
Planeswalker deck,
this stuff from
Planeswalkers,
Cloud,
and how
all the
bad they
starter
were.
kit, there are
We're
once
definitely
again
not in that
versions of
era
both
anymore.
characters
We've
in the
gotten way
set as well,
better.
so there are
Although I
versions.
think these are kind of
standard
like
legal, but there are
kind
versions in the main
kind of
set
mid-powered.
for you to go play. With
But
that
not
said,
horrible.
The Sephiroth is not messing around, especially. Like, it comes in.
Yeah, for
monster
dual
masses
deck level
all your
cards, you're
opponent's
actually pretty
creatures,
good.
And then it gets big. It's like a mini massacre worm. So, for starter deck face cards, like I said, these are not messing around. But there are other versions of Cloud and Sephiroth in the main set. So,
wow. Well, chat, if you wanna watch the rest of the Q&A,
see what questions.
if you want to watch the rest of the Q&A, you can go over to the WotC stream. We're gonna look at this set real quick, talk about it, and then I'm gonna do a spoiler video, I guess. I didn't know we had spoilers coming today.
Great.
I gotta say,
One question.
I gotta say, this set looks amazing. I ask this every time we have a spoiler stream. I always ask, hype level up, hype level down. My hype level went from like 6 to 10 or 9. Like, this set's gonna be amazing. And I'm not even coming at this from a Final Fantasy fan perspective. I'm just coming at this as a Magic player perspective, because I never played Final Fantasy. Just seeing more flip cards, seeing the cool art on these cards, seeing just like such wacky, neat designs like Cactar getting plus 9999. Like, it's so cool. Saga creatures. This set just looks, it's so far up. And I think hype level seems to be up for pretty much everyone. Like, some people know, but in general, it seems like the hype is up across the board. This set's gonna be big. I think the one drops actually. I think Cecil's gonna be busted. I think it's gonna be a very playable card. Just as far as like Magic implications of these cards, I would say I'm very excited for the new sagas. I think Cactar is hilarious, and it's going to be a great against the odds cards at worst. I think Cecil's actually just like a really strong card. I think that Tonberry might actually be playable as a one drop. Same with Saz Kokobo could also be a playable one drop. The one drops actually look really, really good. And then the side quest thing looks really powerful for Commander. Like, out of the cards we've seen today, usually when we see spoilers, it's like, okay, that card's cool, but not very good. That card's neat, but, probably not going to see play. I feel like there's actually, considering we only got a handful of cards today, a lot of potentially playable cards, at least in Commander, but also in Standard, for stuff like Toneberry and the other one-drops that we've seen from this little tiny taste of spoilers. So, yeah, I feel like this set, I will go all in on saying this is going to be easily the set of the year, and I would be surprised at this point if it does not beat out Lord of the Rings for most best-selling Magic set of all time. Like, this looks like a absolute slam dunk to me, which is exciting. Coming off like kind of Ether Drift was kind of like in the middle. Like, yeah, it was okay. Very excited for going back to Tarkir, and now I'm actually super excited about this Final Fantasy set. But on that note, everyone, I think that brings us to the end of our stream for today, because I'm gonna have to run over and do a little spoiler video for the YouTubes. I would agree, Ether Drift does look straight up pathetic next to this set, even though I'm enjoying. There's cards from Ether Drift I'm very much enjoying, but compared to how amazing this set looks, it just can't hold up. But I still care about Tarkir, because Tarkir is very nostalgic for me. Like, that was kind of like when I first started doing content, and I just have very good memories of Siege Rhinos and Mantis Riders, and so I'm still very hyped for Tarkir as well. But this Final Fantasy is gonna be so good. But reminders on the way out the door, everybody. Replay YouTube. This way you can find all the old streams. Normal YouTube. Spoiler video gonna be coming out in a few hours. Gonna go work on that now. A super sweet Against the Odds tomorrow. Teaching some Arena Zoomers. And one more reminder that our sponsor day is Card Kingdom. If you need some magical cards, you can get them over at cardkingdom.com/MTGGoldfish. Most importantly, thank you to each and every one of you. Y'all are amazing. Hopefully enjoyed hanging out, playing some Roots, watching some spoilers. Enjoy the Final Fantasy stuff. I love y'all. Check out the spoiler video on the YouTube later, and I will talk to you soon.